And here we go. Cool.
All right.
Now it's a waiting game. I'll wait. I mean, I guess there are credits though, right? So.
Yeah, well, there's credits like during the voyage scene. Wait, have you not seen this fully yet?
No, I have. I just forget. You have like a text intro, right?
Oh, this is going to be fun. You're going to like this. And if you have any questions about the plot or behind the scenes, I'll just fill in. So we're live, I guess. So hello, everybody.
Is this one with the original score? Because I don't know if I've seen this re-uploaded one.
The original. Here's the background before we get started. Is that the movie did air originally premiere in 2016, but much like George Lucas thought of his original version of Star Wars, I felt it wasn't really finished because I was rushing to get it out, and my composer at the time couldn't complete the score, so I had to use a temp track from Waterworld, which is my favorite film soundtrack, by the way. And I was so unhappy with it that I decided I'm going to take another year to fix it up, clean it up, cut it down a bit, and then add the new score. So if anybody asks about the original version, that's probably never going to happen. It didn't feel finished. Although I'm considering doing a new version I want to call the black and white edition, or the 33 edition to make it look like the original, and just use the Zack Snyder score. I don't know. I was thinking about even calling it the Legend edition, because it would be more like the Legend of King Kong.
When you get it on DVD, let me know. I'll buy it.
Yeah, well, I got the VHS version. That's we're trying to sell those out too. So if anybody wants a copy, just shoot me a DM on social media. Hello, Amir. I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Yeah, I get people in here sometimes. Let me. All right, I guess I can start it then.
Yeah, you can just start. Yeah, so this logo, I have to say a big thank you to my buddy Mason, who actually created this logo for me.
It is nice.
He's my buddy in Australia. Really cool guy. He has a lot of inside of stuff shot in Australia. But I love this new logo. This was for the 10th anniversary. Our 10th anniversary was we started YouTube in 2007. So we jumped on that train pretty damn early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Prologue. The reason for this, because I just figured, because here's the thing. The original script was over 200 pages. And there was a lot of stuff that was padded out. And unfortunately, I just felt like it was too long of a script. So I think halfway through production, I rewrote the script. And the original cut, when everything was finished, was over 4.5 hours. Yes, release hashtag release the Jack cut. Release the Buchanan cut.
Do it.
Oh God. Well, half of it's not even finished, so. And I think we're already having render problems. Can you lower the quality maybe to kind of get it to where it goes a little faster? And get to 240. It was shot like that anyway. Well, no, because we shot it on a Sony Handycam that was only 720p, and it was HDD, and it was my first real digital camera where I could just plug in the footage and not have any issues. And so it was kind of it just lasted, and then right when we finished filming, it died. So that thing got its use worth. I think I paid $500 for that damn camera back in the day.
You got a question about how long it took?
How long did it take to film? Principal photography. Well, pre-production was from September 2010 to April 2011, and production lasted from May 2011 to October 2013. That was principal photography, and then we took a year off, and then we did post-production, which was all the special effects. That took another year. That was May 2015 to October 2015, and then we did another year of post-production. So that was kind of the process, and then another year doing the final version, which I prefer. So obviously this is meant to represent the 70s remake, how it opens. And you know what's really funny about this movie? Because this came out, I think, about 3 or 4 months before Kong Skull Island, and we were still in the middle of production when that was going on. And I thought it actually really funny that if you look at Kong Skull Island, you notice how the characters' like looks and colors and their costumes kind of look like our movie. So I was thinking, was Warner Brothers watching what I was doing?
Yeah, I'll have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, like you'll notice that the colors look exactly like they do. So I guess like, yeah, these are supposed to be canisters of chloroform, basically refills. But the whole backstory basically is that Denham, you know, in this version, because I wrote in that he actually revived the natural drama, which is what Marion C. Cooper did back in the early days. Here's Brett. Yes, this was in our laundry room. This was the laundry room of my house. That's how homemade this looks. But we had it where Denham had gotten the map from a spy person or whatever. It was kind of like Jurassic Park when Newman meets that guy in Costa Rica, where they traded information. Then he decided, I'm going to find this place and make a movie about it. And so basically, to save costs, he hired an oil shipment crew that was kind of scummy and everything. So the idea was, because this was written around the time of the recession, so I figured it, because, you know, hey, Great Depression of the original film, add that little kind of bit to it, kind of bring in that sort of sense of the time periods. So I guess the idea is that this film does take place in 2013. And here's who I call, like, this is supposed to be Weston, but he looks more like Dr. Whomst. So it's like, I don't know why we chose this. I wish we could have gotten for something a little different. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was smoking to come up with that.
That's an old looking monitor.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be like an old computer monitor because, again, it's a rusty old ship. And it's funny if you notice, Denham calls up his original actress who was Dwan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of Easter eggs.
I don't know if you answered it, but what previous Kong film had the biggest influence on your remake?
1976. It was a mixture of 76, but it was mostly the 1996 script, which I really wish they would make into a film at some point. Because I don't know if you've read that script, Ryan.
I know the story. I haven't read the actual script.
It's basically Indiana Jones and the Adventures on Skull Island.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read it. And actually, one thing I'm doing is I might be remaking Kong again, but I'm going to do it as a Lego miniseries. But base it on the 96 script. But make it all in Lego. Because that way it's a hell of a lot easier.
Weren't they trying to find like treasure on Skull Island or something?
Well, no. What it was is that the 96 draft opened where they were on a dig in Sumatra. Well, actually, it opened with Jack Driscoll, because in this one, he's not a first mate or a writer. He's a World War I fighter pilot. And it opens with this kind of Top Gun scene where they're just doing practice, and then the Red Baron attack, and then he crashes and his best friend dies, and so he says, I'll never fly again. So we cut to 1933, and we're in Sumatra, where there's this huge dig going on in the jungles, and they stumble across, this ancient kind of golden treasure room with a gold statue of Kong and the map to the island. And it's very much kind of like The Mummy, like in the Mummy movies, where they come across, like, kind of accidentally the tomb of Imhotep, but then, like, you know, the Sumatran government shut them down, the Hindu authorities shut them down, and then there's this whole chase through the jungle, very similar to that scene in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then they get on the Venture and take off. Actually, the whole scene where, like, Anne and Jack get on the Venture was an action scene, because it was very much kind of like the scene in Jaws the Revenge, where the plane flies into the water and they go on the boat. Because the idea was, like, there's this rusty old boat at the very end of the stream, and Anne and Jack get on it, and she's like, can you fly this thing and everything? So they fly, and he's just so freaked out to fly, and then they literally fly a few feet towards the boat, and then they crash in the water and swim to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So, so these are all the title credits, very similar to the 76 remake. And a lot of this, because here's the thing, the boat we shot on was actually a Toronto fire boat. We had permission from the fire department and the Coast Guard in Toronto, which are friends of ours, and they let us shoot on the boat. But all the outside stuff, that's obviously stock footage, because there was no way I was going to get able to take that boat out until actual open water. In fact, when we shot the movie, we weren't allowed to film in open water, so we had to literally shoot on the dock and literally kind of aim the camera where you couldn't see land. It was kind of like how they did it in Jaws, where, oh, you can see land over that way.
So is this boat right here, was this stock footage, or do you guys?
This is all stock footage.
Okay.
Because it's like how I didn't know how the hell I was going to be able to do all this. So
it is pretty cool though that you got boat permission. I never thought about how you did that.
Well, it's just because like we had ties with the Toronto Fire Department and the Coast Guard because they're friends with the family, so they just let us film. Because I told my dad I need a boat, and we didn't know where to go. So he said, so he got his friend, and they said, yeah, you can shoot on their boat. Advertisement, Morty, no, Morty, advertisements. Well, I need to make money, Morty. I have never watched Rick and Morty in my life, but I mean, I watched 2 episodes, but that's it.
It's not that great. It's fine.
Back to the Future is better. But yeah, so this was all just, this was, the thing is with this movie, with my first feature, every movie, every project I've done has been a test or experiment or just kind of like a learning curve. So this was, in terms of making a movie, a real learning curve for me of like what it takes. And it's one of those things where it's like, I can make a movie probably every 10 years. Only because like it just takes so much more effort than an episode of my show.
Oh, well, every 10 years, then this started in 2010, so.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, because like we officially started approximately 10 years ago. So this is almost like a 10th anniversary commentary.
So were you like fresh out of high school then when you started?
I was in my last year of high school. And the thing is that I wasn't really doing a lot of school stuff back then. I was doing jobs to make credit and everything. And eventually, and what would happen is that a lot of the people in this movie, the cast-wise, were all schoolmates in the same class. And I eventually kind of pitched them all the idea, and they said, yeah, we can do that over the summer. Little did we know. But it was great because during pre-production, we would actually have meetings every lunch break at high school. And I actually had access to a room of my own at the school, which eventually became my own office. And what I would do is, like, every lunch, I invite the cast in, we'd have lunch, and we'd have meetings and brainstorms and talk about the script. I'd bring in, like, bulletin boards full of storyboards, and we would go through all the storyboards and animatics and kind of just know what we were going to shoot on certain days. But that was all fun. I really wish I had footage of that, which we don't have much footage of the pre-production process. The only thing I have is this scene as a screen test for Brett and Jake, who play Jack and Denham respectively.
So what about this map here? Did you draw this?
Yeah, the map was, it's easy to make maps like that. All you have to do is just draw your sketch. I photocopy mine in case I need an extra. I trace it over with a Sharpie, a black Sharpie. But then what I do is I dye the piece of paper with tea bags. Just get some tea and wet the tea bag, and then just dab it on the piece of paper, let it dry, and then maybe stick it in the oven for a little bit, give it that little crisp feel. And then I actually burnt the edges. Just burnt them. I actually, like, for example, I actually made a Ring Wraith cosplay from Lord of the Rings, and for the fabric to look more damaged, I just went outside and torched the frickin' fabric.
Hey, whatever you got to do.
Yeah, it works. I mean, I saw in at Disneyland, they for the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction, for the sails, they would just take a blowtorch to the sail and just put holes in it to make it look like cannon holes.
So are there any scenes here that you can blatantly tell that you're on the dock? Like, oh no, there's...
If you look closely in the corners, it's hard to tell. I like to think that it's kind of like in Titanic, where as they're going on their voyage, they kind of stop off near the coast of Ireland. So they're kind of sailing like kind of close to the coastlines as they go along their journey, because the idea is like they go from Surabaya to kind of the Sumatran water. So it's always they're probably sailing kind of close to port. So at least like it's less of an issue. So yeah, like you can see back there, there's a ship there. And that's the thing. It was a tiny little boat. And I originally, because we have a lot of, down by the docks here in Toronto, we have a lot of shipping vessels. And like we have like oil tankers. I wanted to actually shoot on an oil tanker, which is down there, but I didn't know how to get access to it. This was just kind of a quick little option. And we figured, well, if we can't get this, we may never get this. So screw it. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of winging on this production.
What's the story behind the director hat? Did you just find it? Did he have it?
I made that. Now, originally, this is your thing. I actually had my own director's cap that I bought in California on a trip, and they sell them at gift shops. It's crazy. But I just made that. We just bought a cap, and then we just got the lettering, and we just hot glued and stitched it all together. The outfit is very much based on. It's funny how I prep this because for like, you know how like with some productions they have maquettes and like dioramas to see what the sets are like. My concept was use Legos. So to design the costumes, I basically made Lego figures of the characters and then based it on that. So Denham's costume is inspired by, if you get these Lego studio sets, you can get a little minifigure of Steven Spielberg. And he looks exactly like that. So that the tie, the vest, and everything. And when I cast Jake, it's funny with me and Jake, we actually, first time we met, we were at summer camp, and he wanted to kill me. He never liked me at all. He thought it was just kind of stupid and annoying. But then when we started going to high school together, we became really good friends. And and here's the star of the show, Lost Media Junkie as Herb. Everybody loves Herb.
How many times does he die in this movie, Brad?
Well, I think he dies like 5 times. He's the Kenny of the movie. But the thing is with Jake, I cast him because I thought he looked perfect for Denham, and the idea was to go for a very kind of Robert De Niro Untouchables or Gary Oldman kind of vibe, because this is sort of supposed to be kind of like a movie set in the 90s. It's got a 90s tone to it. So I just thought he just really nailed it, and he loved playing it. He loved playing the bad guy whenever he could. And I just told him,
is that your head in the window?
No, you could kind of see it, yeah. But actually, it was my my dad and stuff inside the bridge, because I figured, hey, I need some extras in the background because who's steering the damn thing?
Right.
So, so it's funny too with Jack, because the idea is that I don't think I wanted to include the Englehorn character. I think it was just I didn't want too many characters, so we scaled it down to where Jack was the captain. The only thing we added was a first mate, which was Bob, who, for Sean, will like this. Bob in this movie is based on Bob from Batman. The 89 Batman, the Joker's right-hand man. So you can totally see that. We just took Bob from Batman. In fact, actually, it's funny. There was a scene that we wrote kind of as a joke, but we never shot it or did it. It was when Kong, escapes and Denham completely loses it. We were going to cut to him and Bob, and he's, it was going to be a scene out of Batman where he's like, he got away, and then Denham looks at Bob, is like, Bob, gun, and then shoots Bob, and then that's what happens to him. Because you ever notice how like Bob just disappears in the third act? Like he's just. Yeah, he's not there.
Batman 99. Oh, Studio 95 is here. Look at that.
Oh, hey, Studio 95. There's Herb. There's Herb. We're doing a commentary on our movie. It sucks. It'd be cool if he joined us, actually.
Ethan Doyle says, still love this movie, right next to Kong 05 and Skull Island. Wow, damn.
Thank you. See, it's funny because you look at Kong Skull Island. Do you notice the costume look? Like Jake looks like John Goodman. Like, do you see what happens, Denham, when you fuck a stranger in the ass? Oh, dude, you need to watch Big Lebowski. It stars both Jack Prescott and John Goodman. It stars both.
It's on my list.
It's a good movie. That's actually Brett's favorite movie, was Big Lebowski. He would see when Brett was on, because here's the thing, Brett was like a Robin Williams on set. Like if we're not filming, he's cracking jokes, and he was so goddamn funny. He would just crack, because there was like a blooper where like they'd be looking around on the green screen and they're looking for Denham, and then he would pull out a piece of paper and be like, Fluttershy, search the skies for him. Just like little pranks and stuff he would pull, and he was really funny. Like obviously in the movie, him and Denham have a rivalry, but in real life, behind the scenes, they got along so fucking well. Like they were like bros on set. So it was very much a high school kind of film. Like it feels like this is a bunch of kids in high school just making a whole movie. And yeah, so Silvana as Anne, she did actually. It's funny with her. When we were shooting the movie, we had no Anne. We had none. We didn't have her cast because My original actress had to bail because she had worked a full-time job. And then eventually, we literally shot 2 years without an end. We were literally pulling a Jaws where we shot around the shark, so we had to, because we just didn't have it cast, and I looked everywhere. And eventually I put an ad on what's called Kaiju, which is like a Canadian Craigslist. And I just said, hey, we're looking for an actress. And then she wanted to meet up with us. So we met at a coffee diner, very similar to the original film when Denham meets Anne for the first time. It's like, as George would say, again, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
It's very meta.
Yeah, and we met up, and she was totally on board, and we just shot that in the last year of filming. We literally were shooting to the very end of the schedule. My parents, the producers, my mom and dad, they said, you need to wrap up filming by October, because we didn't want to keep dragging on the production. I agreed. I was like, okay. So we literally spent the last 3 days of shooting, everybody just came and crashed at my place, and we just shot without a break.
So is it true that you intended this movie to come out for the 80th anniversary in 2013?
Yes, 2013, because I was thinking, okay, I can shoot in 2011 for a year and a half, then do the effects in 2012, and then have it released in 2013. That did not turn out to be the case because of people's schedules, and I think they were thinking it was a short, when in reality it was a feature. And it's also, I think, halfway through shooting is when I actually rewrote the script, because I knew how padded this movie was, and I just didn't want to drag it on. Like, you look at some of the scenes, the action scenes, they stretch. They went on for like 10 to 20 minutes a piece. So that's half the reason why the original cut was 4.5 hours. It's just the scenes just went on, and they really dragged. And, when you have a vision, you kind of stick to those original animatics, so it feels like you have to get every shot. But then it turns out, yeah, you've got to cut this down. But yeah, this was just a lot of them filming on the boat, which was fun. And that scene with those two, I just said, okay, Brett, you two are just going to be talking. Brett, just be funny, because we're not going to put in any kind of dialogue. Come up with some funny stuff, and we'll just we don't have to worry about the dialogue.
Is that the actual script for the movie right there?
That is the actual script. That was the in-joke. And that's actually the first draft, too.
So that wasn't the one. Was that the one that you were currently using?
No, I think by the time Sylvana showed up, we had the new draft. We had the new script, the final script. But yeah, there was a lot that was. If you look at the deleted scenes on my channel, there was a lot that was cut. Mostly action scene stuff. Like, we had a scene in right out of Lost World where they go through the grass, and don't worry about the ads. We went through it was like Lost World with the long grass, and then they saw raptors, and we were going to use suit actors, which I met at a Comic-Con, who had these amazing raptor suits, and they just they just couldn't make it, so we cut it. It's just, you got to make compromises like that.
Crazy fucking looking storm.
Well, that's supposed to be the fog bank. It's supposed to be like the fog of the island that kind of keeps it. And there's a double rainbow. What does it mean?
So, you maybe want to talk about the score a little bit, like what?
So it's funny how the score came out. I was originally just thinking, okay, I'll just use the temp track from Waterworld, because that's my favorite film score, and it just matches Kong so well. But what ended up happening is I was thinking I want to get an original score just to avoid copyright, but it took me a while to find out. But then around, I want to say 2014, 2015, I met a guy named Bernard Kier, who reached out and said he was interested in this score because he heard about it. And he said, I want to do the score for you. And I said, oh, okay, can you send me your resume? I literally found out that he had done the score to one of my favorite fan films called Prime Survival, which is a Jurassic Park fan film. Very ambitious, very well done, and very much in the style of this movie, except they had access to CGI dinosaurs. And I heard his score, and it's a great score, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to utilize this. So not only is that the case that he did the score to a really good fan film, but it turned out on one of my trips to Universal Studios Florida, which I usually did about once a year, he works at the park. he works at the park. So we met for lunch and we got along really well. He's a huge Jurassic Park fan, one of the biggest I know. And we just got along like that. And he's been doing scores and stuff for me ever since. In fact, he just did a cover track of all the tracks to Legend for my Legend review. So that was, I want to get, guys, his YouTube channel is under Brachio InGen. Go check him out. He could definitely use support. And if you ever need a score for something, reach out to him. Great, talented guy, and he definitely could use the work, especially right now because the parks are closed. So,
the camera that Herb is holding was that like an out of commission camera? Did it work?
Well, it's funny. We the way those cameras, we had, I think, a total of like 5 prop cameras, and all of them were actually, because my dad used to do a show called Wake Stock, which was like a wakeboarding event. And, I used to go there to see, it was a big party crowd. It was literally a big party crowd. A lot of people drinking, a lot of people having fun. In fact, I went there once and I crowd surfed, which is crazy fun. Just be mindful if they drop you because you will hurt your back. Yeah, I did crowd surfing. Crowd surfing's crazy. But when they were actually clearing out some old tech that they weren't using anymore. And one of them being these kind of news report cameras, which were on VHS. They're these VCR cameras. And basically I told Dad, hey, we could use some of these for the project. And he said, and they were just throwing them out. They were just going to throw them out. So we used them and we destroyed all of them except for one, which I have somewhere. Let me just check to see if I have it. Here it is. Hold up. I actually have the last remaining camera prop from the film. And what's great is, here it is. It still works. So I plan to I want to do, because people actually still film stuff on these. And it's a genre of filmmaking called shot on shitio. And part of me wants to make a film on this format. In fact, I'll pull it out right now. The mic is still there and everything.
So is that a VHS camera?
Was the last camera that survived the entire production. Every one of them broke or got destroyed because we abused the crap out of them. They're Panasonics, and they're just really nice cameras. We did not shoot on these, unfortunately, because they were props. But this is the last one that still works. So these are Panasonic VHS cameras. These are models. Just trying to see what the model is. Model number, a DC/CC 12 volt. But these are really great cameras. They have a mic. They have a light. They have battery powered stuff. But this is the last one, and I kept this preserved because I actually want to use it. So that's the story of the cameras. Again, the megaphone, actually, there's a bit with the clapperboard there, which I also still have somewhere, which has a lot of Easter eggs of dates from the other films. So, like, one of them is, it says, what is it? March 2nd, 33, which was the day the original Kong was released in theaters.
Was her scream recorded beforehand?
What that was is that, she couldn't scream, unfortunately. She didn't have the capacity. So we were kind of figuring out what to do with that. And our neighbor's daughter actually volunteered. So we just did like about maybe half hour of recordings of just her screaming and panicking. And that's how that turned out. Now I can't get this bloody camera back in the goddamn thing. Okay, this is one joke I love, the whole model wall. That was the first thing we shot effects-wise. And that whole thing was made out of cardboard, bamboo fencing, and a lot of work to put it all together. Like that cardboard, the 2 pillars were cardboard, and the door was actually wood, but we actually put hinges and everything on it, and it just would not stay up. So we were just filming for as long as we can, and then there's nothing left of that. We actually burnt that whole thing down.
How tall was it?
It was about 7 feet tall. It was about 7 feet tall by, I'd say, 20 feet long. Damn. So it was a big model. It was like a size to match Kong's height. Now, that's the thing. That is me right there. There's a trick Alfred Hitchcock always had where, he always needed extras, And if there was no extra body, he would take over the role. And you'd see that in all of his movies. So I pulled a Hitchcock there where it was kind of like, here, I'm just going to be right here and just stand in for a character. Now, this is the part where everybody starts laughing. This is like Lord of the Flies. This is literally Lord of the Flies.
So who are these extras?
So I used to go to a summer camp. I used to go to a summer camp for about a decade. And my last few years there, I figured, why don't I take advantage of the film courses that were there? Because we have different activities. One of them being a film course. And so I figured, well, I do a lot of these, so why don't I take a little bit of control here? So we had all of the kids who were in the film course play extras as natives, and we just shot them for a couple of days, and they had a lot of fun. The kids were a lot of fun to be around, and then actually at one of our campfire nights where everybody was, just having fun and everything, I gathered everybody around, and I just told you, can you all just chant Kong for me for a couple of seconds so I could stick that in the mix? So that's kind of how that all came about. And it was a mix of shooting outside. We shot in this huge gym in some areas. Like we had a scaffolding that would be used for repair. So I had some of them kind of climb up the scaffolding for the ladders. We had them go upstairs, wooden stairs. So we tried to match whatever we could. And some of the shots of the natives on top of the wall were actually on stage, and I would just mat in the wall in the background. So I saved a piece of the wall and I would put it on green screen and just mat it in.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a lot of this was just kind of fun. I just told the kids, go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Action, basically. Especially that kid. That kid, Kevin, he's a great guy. Really great kid. So it just sort of meant, I wasn't having too much expectations. I was just kind of thinking, make it look like a home movie, which was basically the case. And I actually kind of now have considered this genre where it's a fan film, but it's also a remake. I call them fan makes. That's sort of the genre of fan films I call these. They're not, there's canon fan films, there's, choreography fan films. This is what's called a fan make. And so anytime you see one of those shot-for-shot remakes done by kids, it's a fan make.
Yes, Justin, I can't see the chat. Whoops, you guys. Jack, did you build the wall using metric or imperial, since Canadians use both?
No, it was just cardboard and bamboo fencing. Now, here's the thing. That joke with, do you think they're cannibals? That was actually improv, because there were times when we were shooting, I'd say, I don't know what to put here, so you guys improv something that makes sense and we'll get a little bit of a laugh. So even Brett, we didn't have a language for the natives, so we just made up jibber jabber. It was literally a Team America scenario where it's like, Durka, Durka, right? So this is actually a mix of made up language and actual native language, because Brett actually has ties. So he would actually do actual Native American language, which just matched. And there's a couple bloopers where he's like, he'd be like, they want Anne. And he's like, just show the finger. The bloopers are great, by the way. The bloopers are like an hour long.
Yeah. And he did the rack shit, back shit, George Carlin thing.
Yeah, because here's the thing. He was the guy who kind of introduced me to George Carlin, even though I knew of George Carlin before, because I used to watch a show called Shining Time back in the day. But that's when he was kid friendly. But you haven't heard? That all those George Carlin, Thomas the Tank Engine things. That's because
I love those.
Because he was on a kids show called Shining Time, which was like literally they pulled the Godzilla King of the Monsters, where they took British footage and reshot new scenes with American actors, or in this case, Canadian. I literally have to tell you this after the stream. But that bit too, where Brett, where they say, they're looking at Anne, and he actually kind of pushes her back, kind of naturally. That was improv. That was not planned. And right when he did that, I just broke out laughing, because Brett is the funniest guy on set. So again, some of these lines are taken from the 70s remake. So when Anne's like, Jack, can you tell him I like him too, just not that way?
You know what? I think I might actually be able to share the audio on this. I'll turn it down so you
can. Yeah, it's fine. Now, obviously, some shots we didn't have the natives on hand, so we just shot it on green screen. Yeah, and I know.
Sorry,
the little kids. Yes, the fact that these sailors shoot innocent children. Let's go all Anakin Skywalker on their ass. I love this kid. This kid's just like going crazy. There's one shot coming up. It's great when they charge, and he's just like this one kid. His name's Jonathan. He's great. He just goes crazy. I just told him go berserk, and he just went. Ah! So this was all shot down below my hill in the backyard. No, this shot of Jonathan right here. And then yeah, I built my own bows, and he spit out ketchup there too, which I like. See, for blood, I use either ketchup or Kool-Aid mixed with what is it? There's some sort of like sugary syrup stuff that works really well. A mix of that works great. Corn syrup and red Kool-Aid, and it actually tastes really fucking good.
Right, because you need the right thickness. Because ketchup can be too thick, or sometimes just a drink can be too thin.
Yeah. Now that was a rewrite where Brett gets knocked out, and that leads to the sacrifice, because we actually had it where they went back to the boat, but it went on for too long, so we cut that down. I took influence from the video game that they did back in 2005, where in that Jack actually gets knocked out, and then they cut to the sacrifice to save time. So that actually worked really well, I think, when we just cut to black.
When do we see his afro hair disappear?
Around the stampede. So I love this. I put ketchup on a rock, and then just like some skulls and Halloween props I had spare. And the first death of Bradley. Surprisingly, he can play dead really well. So like, yeah, we had different sets. Like that wall piece was actually just my basement. We just shot that in my basement. It worked out really well. So, yes, natives wear jeans for some reason.
How much of the dialogue did you do record dubbing after the fact?
There wasn't much. I'd say about dialogue-wise, probably about maybe 45-50% of the movie was redubbed, which isn't bad. A lot of it was done on camera. Because, again, this was before we actually had the ability to have really good microphones or anything. This was an experimental film. So, yeah, and actually the shields are just cardboard with some fake leopard fur I had lying around. And then, the spears are just cedar trees that with, those solar-powered lights you put on your front lawn with the spikes you put in the ground?
Yeah.
Get some of those, take off the light, and just flip the spike piece and use that as a spearhead. And yeah, they're supposed to be in the shed. Now, that shed with the outside of it, that was actually because I did go to a trip in Mexico, and I took advantage of some of the environment, so that was actually shot in Mexico.
Damn.
So we actually went on location. Well, I actually, aside from Canada, I shot this movie in Mexico, and I also shot this movie in New York. Some of the background, a lot of the real backgrounds were from Manhattan. So I wanted to be authentic for that. But yeah, so I did go to Mexico for a few shots. A lot of the sunset shots were Mexico.
Looks like you gave all these kids a bunch of caffeine.
I did. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. At summer camp, we weren't allowed to bring sweets and shit. They were very healthy, kind of health nuts. But I was the guy who actually smuggled in the good stuff into the summer camp. I'd bring bins with games and stuff, and then I would put the treats in the bottom, and just kind of. I was like a smuggler. I was like Han Solo. And then if a kid was not feeling so hot, I try to help him out and just say, "Here, you want a Coca-Cola?" Just pull a Catling Jenner and give him a Pepsi.
So out of all the nighttime scenes, how many did you actually film at night? What percent?
None.
Really?
A lot of this was day for night, which I thought would work, but not really. I'd slowly start to get back into doing more night shoots, but it does take.
You have to have the right lighting.
What?
You have to have the right lighting to do that.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I didn't have access to see this again. This was a first for us, so we were learning as we were going on. Lights, proper setups and planning. Like there was a lot of that happening. I like the idea of the pillars having fire on them. Yeah, that was the point. I wanted to give it a bit of, so that at least Kong can see his sacrifice. But yeah, this whole that whole gate, that's all the model, and it was just a gate, and then I actually glued what is it, swamp cattail pieces on there to make it look more ancient. But there was like nothing left of that wall. We took it apart and then we put it in a bonfire. And it really sucks because
a green screen right there?
I actually wanted to burn it down on camera.
Oh.
But because we were in a forest area, we were at risk of a forest fire. We don't want to be like one of those gender reveal parties. It's a boy! Everything's on fire. It's a boy! Now, these shots of the trees with like Kong kind of coming towards it, that was shot in Mexico. It was a really windy day, and I was in my resort room, and I saw the trees moving. I'm like, hold on, let me just get the camera, and I just shot that, and it worked really well. It made it look like Kong was coming through the trees. And then this is Bradley in the suit.
36 minutes. Hey, you beat Godzilla vs. Gigan at least. There you go.
I think I beat out every version. Yeah, and then this was a lot of. We actually did do pickups and reshoots. So that was a pickup shot of Jake looking at the wall like, my God, and then he's like, keep the camera rolling. And actually, that bit was based on the movie Date movie. At the end, they do a spoof with Kong with Carmen Electra, and one of the guys is like, keep the camera rolling. So
that was a pretty impressive shot.
Yeah, like we actually had access to a fog machine that day, which I love using fog machines. So a lot of this is a mix of blue screen and model work. And yeah, there's some really ambitious shots here.
How old was Anne during this?
She was actually the oldest of the cast. She was about 26. We were all like in our early 20s. So yeah, but then so there's all just, we built a full-size hand, which I still have, by the way. And I'm actually, I was considering actually selling it, but I'm actually going to keep it. And what I want to do is take out the skeletal structure and make it a big pillow. So you can just sleep on Kong's hand.
Shit, I would have bought it.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
a good idea.
I'd probably sell it. Like, that thing cost like $200 to make. That hand alone was $200.
So how did you make it?
It was made with the first thing we used as a reference was actually they made a Halloween costume of Fay Ray where she's in Kong's hand. So they built like a full-size Kong hand that you can wrap around yourself as a Halloween costume. So I bought one. It was about, I think, $50, $70 online. I cut out the dress and, any areas with white, I just covered with black. And then we obviously wanted to make a full-size piece. So we built the skeleton of the hand out of a piece of wood, a long piece of wood. The palm, like the hand piece, was just flat pieces of wood on both sides of the wooden panel. And the fingers were actually just pool noodles. You get pool noodles, you cut them up, you glue them and put them all together. And then you slide the Halloween piece on like a glove. But then you have the issue with the rest of the arm. So the rest of the arm was, I went to Walmart and I bought bed foam, like the foam you use for your beds. And I wrapped it around for the muscles. So very much similar to the original Kong, it's foam. And then, so it would be light to lift. And then I went downtown and I bought a huge sheet of black fabric, or not black fabric, black fur fabric. I think that was about $100. And we stitched it all together. And we actually even put fishing line inside it that would go down kind of like a vein. And then we would have an operator, it would be operated by two people. One would be lifting it in the shot, and the other would be pulling a string so that the fingers would actually move. So there were a couple of shots where the fingers moved, but the problem is that halfway through, like about a quarter through shooting with the hand, the wire snapped and it never got repaired.
Damn.
So because it was fishing line, it didn't have too much use. So it just snapped and we couldn't find a way to fix it. So
Can you see the chat?
What's going on with the chat?
Can you see the chat? There's like 3 new comments that I think are for you. Yeah.
Jack is director. Yes, I directed this. I'm responsible for this disaster. Say, Jack, what deleted scenes do you hope to include in an extended version? A lot of people want an extended cut. I've considered it, but it would have to require me finishing up all the special effects shots for the movie, because it would require mass. So I would probably wait until I could do it on my spare time, an extended edition, but not 100% on that. But I think the one I would want to put back in is the raptor grass sequence. That's the only sequence I felt I would like to see that completed, but I really honestly doubt it.
Now this ever do a cinematic universe?
No. Everybody asked for a sequel. The answer is no. This line here, this was all from the 96 draft, this bit.
You should do a Carl Denham prequel story.
That is one thing I've considered, is doing it where I thought this idea of a short film where he goes to meet the guy who gives him the map in Costa Rica, and then there's a huge chase with the authorities, like through this like jungle environment or something. Like I've thought of that, like something like Argo, you know, like Argo, like where like they're being chased by the government and they're trying to get away and they take off in a plane or something back to, you know, Surabaya or something.
I will say your Carl Denham is probably one of the most interesting ones because he's got like
very quickly, you can hear somebody in the background go, "Oh fuck." Yeah, that was a blooper because I think that was Brad or somebody. But what happened was that hang on, my computer's dying for some reason. What happened was we were filming, and I guess like a thorn kind of got in Bradley's face, so you just hear him in the background go, "Ow, fuck!"
Yeah, but no, I think Carl Denham kind of gives off like the Mr. Burns vibe. Like he's up to something like mischievous. You don't really know what he's, you know, that kind of thing.
That was the idea, because in the 96 draft, that was always Denham's intention. You'd never know what he was doing. And the idea was he just uses people for his advantage. So I do like that setup. That's out in my backyard, out in the woods. And just, I love the vines, the dead vines and everything that's there. So
I guess in some ways, John Goodman and Skull Island was kind of similar to this 96 kind of Denham.
Pretty much. Do you see the costuming now? Like, look at Brett. He looks like Tom Hiddleston. Like, he's got the costume down.
Let's see, some more questions. Besides dinosaurs, are there other types of prehistoric creatures in Skull Island in your Kong film, like mammoths, saber-tooth? I think that's like a lore question.
I've never been a fan of other prehistoric creatures, like mammoths and saber-tooths. I just stick with dinosaurs. The most you get is the giant snake in the cave sequence. But yeah, I do like this. So we get a reference of how tall he is. So Kong in my movie is about 55 feet.
Jack, how old were you? How old are you? And when did you direct this movie?
It went from September 2010 to December 2016. At the time, I was a sprawling 18 years old, starting this damn thing. Now this is all the stop motion I did by myself. These were all claymation. I sculpted them. The Stegosaur puppet was actually, the spikes were made out of that Crayola plaster you get. So I created the shapes and stuck it on the puppet. And then the mouth was actually, it was clay, but the beak was actually, I found these plastic parrots, and I cut the parrots, these hollow plastic parrots, and I cut the beaks off and stuck them on the puppet. And then the eyes were just googly eyes that I painted.
How much of that is of that setting is like?
There's a little bit of depth. Like there's like the foreground stuff. Like the trees are actually from the Ewok playset from the original Kenner Star Wars toy line, because the Ewok playset makes for these really nice giant redwood trees. So I just used those. And then a lot of it was just background plates, just, you know, shooting background plates. Like these guys would I just told them, pretend there's a tail and then it's going to come down and swing, so duck. And I would know that's where I got to put a shot in. So it's just fun. The kids get to use their imagination. I love this. The rope, and then the rope stop motion is just a pipe cleaner, a yellow pipe cleaner. And we tried to get rope that looked like the pipe cleaner, so we used yellow.
That was good. Did you take inspiration from Toho movies?
There was a little bit in the New York stuff, but most of it was, again, the 96 draft mixed with just like tributes to, so this is all tribute to the original.
Yeah.
Basically, and one of the things I wanted to do, because this is something I never see in a dinosaur movie, you never see any good kills. like where some dinosaurs use their features. For example, you'll never see a dinosaur movie where an ankylosaurus whacks somebody in the skull or something with their giant club tail, or a stegosaurus pulling a Mortal Kombat, spiking somebody with his spike tail. What are they made for? Show what they do. So, like, the Triceratops mauling a guy to get death and getting pierced by his horn. It's like, that's the kind of, I try to come up with some creative death scenes. I'm thinking, how violent can I take it?
Let's see. If Jack, if your fan film had a bigger budget, what would you use to bring Kong the Dinos to life? Men in suits, CGI, stop motion.
I would do a mix of what they did in Mighty Joe, the '98 version, where it was like mostly guy in a suit, a good guy in a suit, like Rick Baker effects, full-size pieces, and then if it's too difficult, do CG. But only for briefly. I'm a very practical guy. Like, for example, when I did my Star Wars reviews, a lot of people said, oh, you should have used more model ships. So now for the prequels, we're actually doing that now. We're using more model space. I like to be more as practical as I can.
Oh, Justin was referring to the large hands that the actors would fit inside in the Toho movies.
No. The hands are about the same size as the original. They weren't meant to represent any kind of Toho stuff. I guess the closest you could say is stuff in like the T-Rex fight later on. But other than that, it's mostly just based on the other films. Like, this scene is right out of the 76 remake. Now, the reason we have that tent set up, that was access because that was during my cousin's wedding. And we had a wedding shower, and my parents had set that up. And I told them, can you hold off taking it down for an extra day so I can have the guys come up and film the scene? And that's what we did. So we just shot this for a full day. And it was raining, too. So it just kind of added to the atmosphere. So, yeah, a lot of these scenes, like a lot of this is all out in my backyard because, like, at my old place, not here because I'm in my apartment now, but my old place, we had acres of forest. So we just used whatever we could down there. And then we have Hyde, Dr. Hyde. Ha, ha, ha. That's better than Russell Crowe. So that's Jacob playing Dr. Hyde, and he was based on Roy Bagley's character in the 70s remake, which I've met the actor, by the way. He passed away, I think, in like January.
Yeah.
Really nice guy. Like, he told me some stories about shooting that. It's just, he told me, you need to go to Kauai because you'll feel like you've stepped on Skull Island. So I'm like that. See, that shot's from Mexico. That sunrise shot was Mexico. Now, if you're wondering about the caves, there's a rock climbing facility where I used to be, and that's where we shot a lot of the cave stuff, whereas in these sort of rock climbing facilities, because hey, they make for good sets.
Let's see, anything else? Monster X Zero says your movie looks like it's something from the 80s.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I've been putting the movie on VHS, which if you guys want it, shoot me a PM and I'll send you the information of how much it's going to cost, like $5 plus shipping. But what's great about it is that I show it on VHS and people say, actually, it looks better on that format. I don't know, put that shit on Betamax or Laserdisc. Or Video 8. So believe it or not, that's me in the costume. Now, those bits, that's me because Bradley wasn't available that day, so I just shot it myself. Very early in the morning, mind you, and I was sweating my balls off. That's the kind of stuff with the full-size hand I like, or shots like this, so you can get a full view of it.
I'm pretty sure her shoes disappeared.
That tends to happen. That's as much as Brett's hair.
So, is there any backstory on that suit? Did you modify it at all, or
the suit is just a mixture of a bunch of Halloween costumes? Because I go to Spirit Halloween all the time. Like, I go to a lot of the Halloween shops during this time. And actually, funny enough, I found an 8 mask at Value Village for like $4. I didn't pick it up because I didn't feel like it, but it was a nice little mask. But basically, the main, we had about total of 3 suits. So we had 2 main suits for shooting. Then we had what's called the stun suit that we could get wet, we could get bloody, we can damage, we didn't care. And what happened was that with the suits, they were again Halloween costumes, But the only things I modded were I needed a better mask, so I bought one of those animatronic masks at Spirit Halloween where if you move your mouth, the lips will move and everything. So that turned out pretty well. And the only thing I modded was actually the feet, because basically I took an old pair of shoes and I put the rubber feet over them so they looked more like actual like feet rather than just little rubber slippery things.
Mm-hmm.
So now shots like these where you see above the trees, I would just shoot at the top of my hill because you see a whole tree line, and I would just shoot that. And again, as this was a learning curve, I will say one thing: my green screen effects have just gotten so much better. You gotta admit. Like when we shot this, we actually built our own green screen, and it was like I think it was like a 10 by 20 foot green screen, and it was used so many times that it actually just faded. So that's why some of the shots kind of look kind of shitty, because they started to fade out by that point. But now I bought a professional one that I use for all my projects now. And it's funny, in the original script, after she punches him, it says in the script that he squeezes her more tightly. So that's why she kind of panics and tries to calm him down, because she doesn't want to get crushed.
Got a little bit of a beard there.
Yeah, it's see again. I think Legendary was watching. Let's give Kong a beard in Godzilla vs. Kong. Let's do what this kid's doing. This kid's going places. She was such a sport doing all this running, all this jumping, all this stunt work. Everybody did their own stunts, and we didn't have any liability. So,
did you pay her?
No, it was all volunteer, and that's why I prefer working with is volunteer.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's funny when that shot's great of Kong just like slamming that tree. That's one of my favorite shots.
Damn, she went in the mud.
Oh yeah, that was fun. When we were shooting that, I told her, "Oh, this is the fan service stuff." Now that's Brad in the suit, and you can see his eyes there. And I just told him, "Look pissed off." He's really like, "You're back here, bitch."
So what are the Kong sound effects?
The Kong sound effects, it's funny, you look at every film, no Kong film ever used real gorilla roars, let alone any film uses real gorilla roars. And it's because they're rare to record. Rarely do you see a gorilla really that pissed off. And the majority of gorilla sounds you hear are shrieks, because it's mostly the females. The males rarely roar. But I looked on YouTube, and there were a couple of videos of gorillas roaring, and all I did was pitch them way down and just added a little bit of a boom to it, and that's how I did the sound effects. A lot of the sound effects I tried to be as original as I could. So the Stegosaurus is an elephant. The Ankylosaur, I think, was like I can't remember what I used for it. A little bit of lizard, a little bit of crocodile, and a little bit of a bit of turtle. Was in the Ankylosaur was tortoise or turtle, and then the brontosaurs were whales mixed with stuff from Jurassic Park, and so on. The Carnotaurs were, I believe, vultures. They were vultures mixed with Rottweilers, and then the Triceratops later on, that was a rhino. So I tried to match whatever animal I used with the creature. What was
I swear to God, a few shots back, Brad like flipped somebody off.
Oh yeah, that's there. We've made a meme of that. There's a meme of that floating around where it zooms in on him doing that, and it says "Thug Life."
Oh my God!
It says X go, and we play X go and give it to you. So what was great about shooting a lot of the extras is that Jake was with me at the summer camp I used to go to, so we actually took advantage of that, and I brought the costume with me, and we filmed all the stuff. I do like this. It's like, here, film this. Yeah, they're trying to come up with gags, so little jokes here when like scenes. That's the one thing you gotta do with action scenes. There's a tip to action scenes. Make sure you have, action bit, gag, action bit, gag, to add a bit of like comedy to it. So this is where Brett's hairs change, and that was something we hardly noticed because we weren't paying attention to that. We were paying attention to shooting the damn thing. So this was just.
I don't notice anything. Hey, you know what? This looks as good as the 2005 Stampede.
Yeah, I think mine looks a little better. I do like this shot though of them tumbling down and like eating that one. Well, it's funny because like the reason I chose Carnotaurus was because again that was in the original script. It wasn't raptors; it was Carnotaurs.
How long did it take you to animate that?
I'd say about 2 months.
Jesus.
I love that one guy gets squished. That's great. I love that one. Like, there's a lot of good death scenes. And it's funny, we had to figure out who dies and when to kind of go in order, and we had names for all the sailors. So, like, that one, I think we had one named Challenger. That one, that one with the red bandana, I was thinking about calling Rambo. And again, another Kong Skull Island character. That one guy with the red bandana. Are you seeing the parallels here?
Oh my god.
I do like that shot where he shoots him. But again, the idea was what's creative death scenes. So like there's one sailor named Bruce, there's one sailor named Jimmy, there's one sailor named Peak, there's one sailor named Hans. So we try to come up with different names for characters. One named Cooper. There's one in this scene coming up where he falls. His name's Wilson, so based on Fred Wilson. So we have little in-name jokes. I love that. Jake's is like, out of the way. I'm important. And one thing I did was, because I only had one Carnosaur puppet, I actually gave them different colors. So I would just take the color tint and just give them different characteristics. And then this one, I think, was... I can't remember what this character's name was. I can't remember what his name was. I'd have to look at the character list.
Oh no, is this when Herb dies? No. Okay.
All that, like, Hans, like, grabs a rocket, slips, and it hits one of them in the head. Here's Fred Wilson getting killed. That was actually improv. He decided to do that. Just, oh, shit!
Oh, damn.
So, Wilson's dead.
There was the one kid with a backpack.
Yeah, the little kid in most of these shots. That's my buddy Zach, who does a lot. His dad gave us a lot of lights and everything for shooting, but he plays our cabin boy Jimmy. There's a rule in film: if you're on a ship and you have a cabin boy, his instant name is Jimmy. Not just in Kong, but in Treasure Island.
Herb, roll camera.
Yeah, it's like, dude, he's being eaten alive. Why should he be filming this?
I think Herb needs a movie.
The Herbs.
Herb, a Kong story.
King Kong Origins, Herbert Cooper. Written by D&D, from the directors of X-Men Origins. The Herb origin story. God. But yeah, actually, all this here with the swamp, this was the first thing we shot in May of 2011.
Whatever happened to kind of a tangent? Whatever happened to Preston's family in 2005? Because weren't all the proceeds going to go to his family?
No, that was Herb and Mike, the sound guy. Okay. I'm pretty sure they got compensated. Funny enough, too, I bet you didn't notice this, but Preston in the 2005 film is played by Colin Hanks, who's Tom Hanks' son.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him in another movie, actually.
He's been in a few things. I just can't remember what else he's been in. My guess is that because early pre-production with Kong, the Peter Jackson Kong, Robert Zemeckis was producing it, and he was big fan. He was friends with Tom Hanks, so I guess Tom Hanks got word, and he told Peter, "Can you cast my son in something?"
All right.
So I just want to say, this shot of Jake. This was the first shot. First shot was right there of filming. So, let's say Jack.
A couple questions about. Okay, no, you found him. Okay.
I was just gonna say, Jack, if there was another remake of King Kong, which actress would you choose for Ann Darrow? I want Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie, not even that. I want a biopic about the '76 movie, kind of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but cast Margot Robbie as Jessica Lange.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But this was all the first scene to be shot. This was Bradley's first scene. And it's funny because Bradley never was interested in YouTube stuff or anything. So that was his first learning curve. And he was inspired by me to get into YouTube now. So I think a lot of people after this movie really got into filmmaking.
Tim Curry as Carl Denham.
Who is Carl Denham?
Tim Curry.
He can't because he's half alive. I feel bad for saying that because Tim Curry is delicious. Now, this is all out of the 76 remake. Now, these waterfall shots were shot at Universal. I shot those specifically at Universal at the Jurassic Park section. Because the Jurassic Park stuff has all these amazing miniature waterfalls, so I just took advantage of that. And what's great about filming at Universal, I always shoot early in the morning because before it gets really crowded. So I'm usually the first one at Jurassic Park, and I just film there all day until it gets really crowded. Now, this was all shot at my aunt's pool, by the way. So that was fun. A lot of the shots were done with shooting at the pool. Now, what's great, too, a little tip to filmmakers. If you want to shoot, say, in water, in murky water, but you don't want to get, like, really dirty or anything, film in a pool and then just use the pool as a blue screen. Because then you can just, like, crop out the blue. I try when it comes to shooting stuff occasionally to use natural compositing. So, like, you need to shoot upwards. Make sure you shoot on a blue sky. Shoot on a blue sky, and then you can crop out the blue. That's one of my favorite shots because it combines three elements: the waterfall background, Kong in the suit, and in the hand. Oh, and
the green screen doesn't look too bad there.
When we were doing effects, right? There were several times when we were doing effects, and I was compositing everything, and my computer couldn't handle it, and it constantly crashed.
Oh.
That was a pain in the ass, because it just couldn't handle the processing and rendering.
Some of these shots probably have a bunch of layers.
Like, at the time, I was editing on a laptop. So...
Sorry if it's a little cruel, but I think the girl needs more acting.
Again, because I just took what I could get at the time. That was the only issue. I just took what I could get. Now, this shot is a split screen shot because we only had one raft. So here's the story about the raft. I built it out of a 10-foot skid, and I was originally going to use those big water jug bottles to make it float. But then there was a neighbor next door who was getting rid of their hot tub, and I used the hot tub lids, which are styrofoam. And we just screwed it into the skid, and then we layered it with like a leather on top of it. But obviously, we wanted to make it more artificial. So I expanded it with like logs and trees and everything, and tying it. And me and Brad just worked on this thing for a day, and we were all like murked up and everything. And by the end of it, we started shooting. We shot for 2 days on this thing. First day, we figured we get all them rowing, and the first day they all got on it, and the thing started to sink. And they were freaking out. And actually, one of the actors fell in the water and lost his prescription glasses. That was fun. But then the second day, I paid them back because I was the one mostly in the murky water. Actually, it's funny because we filmed it, and then like whenever they jump in the water here, this is in a pool. So again, I cropped out the blue and replaced it with like a swamp green. Right?
That's actually kind of crazy. I never noticed that.
Yeah, and it's funny because the second day we shot it was a really, really hot day. And Brett was so sick of it that he wanted to jump in the water. So I told him, okay, hold on. Let me get into position. You can actually jump in and we'll use that. So he jumped in, and nobody else wanted to do it because they were afraid of how crappy it would look, like how murky the water was. But then Bradley jumped in. And then at the end of the day, when we finished shooting in the swamp, we all just went swimming for the afternoon in the pond. That kind of takes like a work day and makes it a fun day.
So what the hell is that dinosaur? Is that a toy? Is that
Parasaurolophus? It's actually a Lost World hand puppet.
Oh.
And it was funny because like the swamp monster went through several different versions. We had an elasmosaur, we had a chronosaur, we had just a weird swamp monster. But then I thought, let me just do a Parasaurolophus because it'll be a tribute to the Legend of King Kong script because that's what they were going to use in that scene instead of the Brontosaur. So I did that instead. And I thought that looked a lot better because it's kind of like a shark with its like frill kind of coming up. Oh, there's some great bloopers here too as well because like there's one part where Jake goes, "Her, what the fuck? Damn it!" Because we weren't allowed to say fuck. There's a PG-13. Now, it's funny, one shot when Bradley falls, he actually rolls down the hill, and you just hear Brett going, he's roly-poly-oly, rolling down the hill.
No!
Now, Herb, when he gets eaten, is just a G.I. Joe figure. He's like, yo!
Carl's such an asshole. He decides to film her to death.
What I love is right here when he says, well, that's a wrap. I remember showing it to like 3 screenings, and every time you just hear people go, oh, dick! You just hear the audience. You can just hear them in their heads going, boo!
His true colors show.
Oh, I love it. And I love that one line he says to Jack, the girl's dead, Jack. Well, what's in it for us? Was she that good in bed? And you're just like, oh, world star. Anyway, so this fight scene was improv because I just told them make up some, like, take a couple minutes and come up with something, and they came up with a really cool fight scene. We just improv the whole thing. So I love how he just like punches them, and like there's that one part where Jake's just like, bitch. Well, the scene was actually written, like this whole bit was actually out of The Land Before Time, believe it or not, when Littlefoot and Sarah have a fight scene and they all split off. That's what it was based on. I love that headbutt too. And then dick move. You kick him in the nuts. You kick him in the nuts, punch him in the face, and then spit on him.
So a couple of those shots that were intercut, they had different hair. So did you?
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes Brett's hair looks normal, then it looks like an afro, and then sometimes he looks like Weird Al Yankovic. You keep expecting him in the jungle in the Weird Al outfit to go, Jurassic Park is frightening in the dark. So a lot of that's because it was shot in different seasons. So like this was shot in the fall, then it was shot in the summer, then it was shot in the spring, because we would always go back to it. And that is one thing I learned, is that this movie actually made me learn a lot about continuity.
Hey, there's you, right?
Yeah, that's me taking over for Zach, who is Jimmy. I would sort of play a couple of roles in case we didn't have an extra. Like if one of the extras couldn't make it, I would take over. All you have to do is just put on the outfit, wear some sunglasses, and you're covered. Now this Triceratops, this baby, I bought one of those Coda toys that cost about $200. I just bought it at secondhand, and we just used it, film it, and then I resold it immediately after.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually just on a little crate. It was on a little wheelie thing, and we just wheel it in if we needed it to walk and everything. So I tried to be as practical as possible, so we had just Evan actually interact with this thing. Yes, shoot a baby. And yeah, this sailor's name is Peak, too. So that was actually based on the 96 draft. Also, I have to admit, Evan probably has the best death in the movie. It's like, Mommy's very angry. The Triceratops is good. I love the transition from person to figure. Yeah, you'll see that in a sec. Because you are a Universal fan, any thoughts on Jurassic World Ride replacing Jurassic Park in Hollywood? I don't think it's going to replace Orlando, but I haven't seen the Hollywood ride, but it's okay. Now, what I love is like because it's so protected, the frill is bulletproof. Now here, I love this. Where he gets pierced by the Triceratops. I love this. Grisly death.
Damn.
Oh,
so,
I love that. And actual blood. So
that was pretty seamless.
Yeah, that's just a G.I. Joe that I actually had to drill a hole in to fit on the horn. Now, the Triceratops puppet is just plasticine. Same thing with the Stegosaurus beak head, and then there's like the frills have some like beaded bone claw pieces. The back spine is just toothpicks, ends of toothpicks, but the horns, the big horns, are just chicken bones. That's all they are chicken bones.
Did you ever contemplate having a Triceratops battle like in '96?
Not really. That wasn't really in the plan. Actually, that was the Legend script, not 96.
Oh.
That was Legend, and also in the original 33 film. I think it's also in the novel.
Well, then they had like that stampede thing for like the creation thing. I remember that.
Well, it was a charge. It's Triceratops, because in that a hunter had split off from the group, shot a baby triceratops, and then charged at this guy. So it was actually more based on creation, that scene. Actually, that is one movie I would love to make as an adaptation of that. Take movies that they canceled and just make those.
So that's an arm extension, right?
Yeah, those are arm extensions, just cardboard tubes, and then just kind of with gorilla fists on them. And what was cool is we actually used the Peter Jackson Kong gorilla gloves that they made as a toy for kids back then. And we just like stuck them on the cardboard tubes. So again, that's actually me in the suit. Anytime Kong looks a little thin, that's me. When Kong is thick, it's Bradley. Kong be a thick boy. So again, that's me in the suit, because there's some stuff with the forehand stuff. Okay, the log scene is one of the best scenes. So this was shot way out in the woods, and there was this big fallen tree on this creek bed. So we just did that for a day. And what happened was, the day we shot this, our camera battery died. So we actually had a backup. We shot it on a DV and little mini DV camera. So that's why the quality is a little lesser than the other areas.
Did you like just go around searching till you found a fallen tree?
I just walked out in the woods. Yeah, that was because all this was all shot in the backyard. All Skull Island's in my backyard. There were actually two trees. There's the big one, and then there's a little one by the pond. He's like, no. Now we actually, it's funny, the same creek is where we shot the miniature of Kong, because we actually had a smaller tree and we just put little G.I. Joes on it, and Bradley just shook it for a day. I think we actually lost a few figures too, because they went downstream. So somewhere out in the streams, out in the woods of Canada, you'll find a G.I. Joe figure used in this movie. Actually, one of my favorite shots coming up is combining the log bridge with the stop motion and the guys on the log right here. That's one of my favorite shots.
There's a lot of layers there.
Oh, yeah. Onions have layers. But yeah, so this is just G.I. Joes and them just kind of... And actually, that shot with the hand, I would move the hand and then, like, the hand on a green screen and match it with moving the camera. A lot of it, the shaking, is just moving the camera. I regret nothing! Now, when the camera gets destroyed, we did that for real. I just went up on a cliff and I just dropped the damn thing.
Damn.
I just love it. They just go into the depths below. Right here, this is where the camera gets destroyed. But I love this. This was done for real.
Huh.
Yeah, that thing was dead afterwards.
Rip.
I love that scream. That's my buddy Josh doing that scream. And then the sailor's impact, that's just Ken dolls that we loosened up the joints and we just dropped them. Now the stuff with Brett in the cave, that was shot at the rock climbing area. Same thing with the spider scene. And hey, look, Bradley's killing himself.
Let's see.
So this scene actually gets a lot of freakouts in screenings. People like just hate spiders.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
This is where we could go all crazy with the death. So like one of them gets pierced by a scorpion stinger. I'm like, yes.
Damn.
Even a kid doesn't survive. I love this kind of stuff. Shoot spiders and scorpions for a day and just put them in big shots. Hey, ad for Pinnacle. That's what I used to edit the movie.
Yeah, I have Premiere now.
Pinnacle is the best for effects.
Yeah, the green screen is pretty easy on Pinnacle.
Yeah, I haven't used any new stuff. A lot of people tell me to use Adobe, but it's like it's a monthly subscription. At least Pinnacle's like pretty much a all around whenever you want. You don't have to pay extra.
Mm-hmm.
Each shots I really like of Brett inside the little cave. And with the knife, too. Actually, the knife was my dad's old scuba knife that he had. So we just shot that for a day. And then, oh boy, this is the scene where everybody starts laughing again. And you'll say, so the T-Rex, that was we shot that, and then right when we shot that, they launched the inflatable T-Rex suit. Wow, okay, wasted. So we had two heads. We had an animatronic head made from a bicycle helmet, and then we had a foam head for stunts. So the foam head was actually made out of bed foam. So yeah, like that so it would switch, but it's pretty seamless with the heads. The one I kept was the foam head because it was the least damaged after shooting. I kind of want to mount it on my wall. What would the stop motion dinosaurs look like if I had a bigger budget? Probably CG. Or a really good suit, like for the T-Rex especially. Like get that Godzillasaurus suit out of storage. Now, yeah, so the suit was like the mechanical stuff. The main piece was a lizard, Amazing Spider-Man lizard costume. And then the gloves were actually Bosch gloves from The Empire Strikes Back.
Damn, T-Rex wears sneakers.
Yeah, well, they were slippers, actually. They were T-Rex slippers. So, this day was great because it was just the actors just fighting it out in the hot sun. Oh, and they were exhausted. And
did you like choreograph or just tell them to go for it?
Just tell them go for it. Make up some stuff. Be creative. Try something new. The only thing I mimicked was the shots because we had a whole storyboard animatic of this. It was great too because like there's one blooper where Bradley's on the ground, he's got his knees up like this, right? And then the T-Rex launches at him and lands on his bottom legs, and he was just he was screaming foul language like crazy. But yeah, I guess the idea here is that like that sort of log was kind of poisonous, so she's got cut, so it's now there's some toxic going down their legs. Because it's funny, in the 96 script, this is pretty cool. The original intention was that Anne would actually end up in the T-Rex's mouth, and Kong would literally rip the jaws open to fish her out.
Oh, jeez.
But what happened was she got her leg stabbed by one of the T-Rex teeth, so it was infected. Because in terms of scientific accuracy, T-Rex's primary weapon was the mouth because the jaws had so much bacteria, it would be pretty much lethal either way, even if you got bitten.
They kind of ended up doing that in Skull Island with the in the mouth thing, but
yeah, but it was a little different. That was like some Mortal Kombat shit. Now this was great. So we had we had the T-Rex guy in the suit, and we did this in one take. We set up the camera, and then he would pour Kool-Aid in his mouth, and I would say 3, 2, 1, and then squirt it all out. Oh, and that got the best applause and stuff in the theater. It was great. Like G-Fest, I remember everybody was applauding and like stuff at that moment. It was like, yes, it's working.
So that blood splat was practical.
That was practical, yes. And that whole mechanical T-Rex mask was done. We threw it out, and I only kept the foam one. I did keep the suits, though. I kept the suits, I kept the hand, and I kept the Rex suit. And I believe the stop-motion puppets are somewhere in storage. Now, this shot here, that was a reverse shot. We shot it actually in reverse where, we would just put her down like that, and then we just play it in reverse where it looks like he picked her up. Now, yeah, a lot of the time it's just him carrying a Barbie. But hey, it works. No, I like to quote the TikTok here where Jake shows up and it's like, how the fuck did he not die? It's BigJackFilms King Kong, but it's nothing but memes. By the way, can somebody just do an out-of-context BigJackFilms thing?
So some of these shots, you have people like in the woods, like talking to a green screen. Was that because
there were
you?
those 2 days we didn't have the actors there, so instead we just shot it where we'll shoot one person's coverage, then come back, and do the rest on green screen. But that was pretty tricky to do. Yeah, a lot of this is based on the 33 movie with the dialogue. It's like, oh, you wouldn't follow that beast alone.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I can. Oh, I have an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, put the audio in. I think that should... It's fine. I don't know if you could put it in.
Yeah, just give me a sec.
No worries. This is fun. Now that I got better internet, I can do this kind of shit.
I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm not gonna turn it up all the way, but
yeah. Oh, it works.
If it's a little too loud,
yeah.
Tell me
This moment brought to you by Rum and Coke.
to.
I'm tired of this.
Oh no, that bit where it's like I'm tired of this. That's from a midnight screening of the Oogie Loves movie by Cinema Snob. Because Jake is just so done. He's like, man.
Well, the test results are in.
You are not the father.
Son of a bitch! Oh, Igor's going crazy, isn't he? Oh, we're gonna be freaking rich!
This is all 76, by the way.
Yeah. You will piss.
I just love just this bit. I love how much, because I just told Evan, just come up with something funny when you freak out. There is a lot of improv in this movie, only because I wanted to try to add some gags that weren't forced, that were actually kind of natural.
Jesus Christ!
Man, kick my hat. But yeah, I love how basically we used my backyard to make it look like they had set up all these camp areas to do oil tests, like that pipe, that garden hose in the background with the that garden hose in the background. That's just my mom's garden. I just said, oh, it looks like it's just an oil pipe. To test oil.
Take it easy, then. Someone get him a drink. All right, sir.
And it's funny, Evan based his performance on Tim Curry.
Calm down. Now, where are the others?
I love this joke. Here, hang on. I make this joke all the time.
Oh my God. Where was that?
And where are my pants?
Jack, too. They picked them both.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you asshole. It's like, oh, they ate them both. Fuck them. So again,
yeah, Bradley would know about dying in this movie. We stay here, we're dead. Yeah, good advice from him.
Good advice when you died 5 times.
Yeah, what about him? We came here to make a movie. We found something worth all the movies in the world. What?
Scheming, conniving, bad. I am a bad guy.
I love that shot right there where Bradley looks like he just doesn't give a shit, and he's like, I don't want to be here.
Oh, there's times like that you can tell, and it's hilarious.
His gun's flailing around his side. He's like, oh.
I'm leaving. Fuck this movie.
Were there ever days where you had him in the Kong suit and then live action after himself?
Not really.
Baboon ass in a cave all day? No.
Oh, that line, he calls him his baboon ass.
Why?
Because baboons got big butts and they cannot lie.
Then boom.
Let's see here. I had a little idea of writing a remake of Kong 33 for myself, but I also wanted to add a few new scenes. Can you advise me anything? Take what they didn't do. Do the Triceratops fight. Do stuff like that. That's my advice for anybody. If you want to do something new, take ideas that they scrapped and just recycle them. It's one of the things I really liked about Jurassic World when the Pteranodons attacked the helicopter. That idea goes all the way back to Lost World, and they just never did it. But then they do it here. I'm like, okay, good. You recycled an idea. That's very clever. Recycling. See, there's a difference between reusing scenes and recycling scenes.
Yeah. Oh my
Booking a
god.
family vacation in a
Hey, I need to make the money somehow. I need to make the box office return somehow. It's better than paying $39.99 for Mulan.
Oh, not doing that.
Yeah, it actually flopped. It flopped. It only made $5 million.
I'm upset because I rented Metropolis 1927 the other day, and then I found it on YouTube for free, and I was.
It's in the public domain.
It's not yet. Not until 2022. That's when it's not copyrighted anymore.
Well, I think it's already in the public domain because you can find it on those like 50 movie packs.
Yeah, it was good though.
It's funny because my buddy Mason is doing the biggest restoration of the 1925 Lost World, and he has scenes that even he's gotten calls from the Library of Congress asking him, "Where the fuck did you get these?"
How is he recovering it?
He goes on eBay sites and he just bids and just buys stuff.
Wow, really?
And he scans them and he restores them. So he's doing the best restoration of the Lost World I've ever seen.
I need to get to watching that, whatever version they have now.
I have a couple of prints you can watch that are the best versions. The ones on YouTube are mostly only an hour and they're shit quality. Well, or just wait till 2025 when it's the 100th anniversary, because then my buddy's restoration should be out by then. But he's like restoring it. He's restoring it like frame by frame on like a film scanner, and he's putting it out in like 4K. It's gonna look beautiful.
It's in public domain this year now. The copyright expires because it's 95 years old too, so that's cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
I don't know what Canadian laws are like about that. America's kind of like.
It's weird. We have different laws here. I think we're a bit more tame than America is. I've only really, because here's the thing, I've only had 2 copyright strikes on my channel, but they're for like the most random stuff. They're not as like bad. Never for any of my reviews have I gotten a strike. I've gotten claims, but never a strike. But things like I got a copyright strike from the Lana Film Company because I did a bad review of The Mighty Kong, so they had no right to do that. They simply removed it because they hated my review. First of all, I didn't even know the Lana Film Company still existed. For over 20 years. And then I got a copyright strike from Don Henley, who is one of the members of the Eagles, which I love that band. And it was for my Reign of Kong review. And what happened was I actually reached out to them and I said, "Hey, why is this claimed?" And they told me why. And I just said, "Okay, so if I just re-edit it, it'll be fixed?" And they said, "Yeah." So Don Henley's group was really nice. So it's good to have those like kind of contact info so you can reach out to them and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" Instead of just reaching the YouTube.
I'd like to mention that this snake fight had more movement in the snake than in 76.
I think that was the point. We had 2 different snakes for that. We had a bigger one for Bradley stuff, and then we had a small one for puppetry. Okay, so I usually leave around this scene because I just there's some scenes in my movie I'm just not comfortable sitting in it with a live studio audience. So just all I can say is it was based on the 33 and 76 scenes, but I tried to give it a purpose. Instead of making Kong just a flat-out creep, I had a purpose why he does this, because Anne's leg is wounded and he needs to get to the wound. Because it's toxic and healing her, and then she takes it the wrong way.
People beat around the bush. Where's the Kong movie where he just starts jerking off?
No, that's just Kinky Kong. That's Kinky Kong and King Dong. Which, again, I don't know if you've seen my Valentine's Day special, Ryan, but, oh, that was fun.
I saw one of those movies. It's the one where like half of the movie is just a bunch of girls like dancing around in a bar.
Oh, that's Kinky Kong. That was part 2. You didn't see part 1. Part 1 is like
I saw both your reviews. I'm saying I saw the actual thing.
Yeah, well, like it was because like it was just more of like I'll say that was probably the most risque thing I've ever done in my entire career. I was pushing some boundaries there. Monster X Zero. Okay, goodbye. I'm leaving.
I will say King Dong is one of the funniest movie titles I've ever heard.
Oh god, I actually finally got a copy of it because when I reviewed it, I had to use clips from other sources, but I finally got a copy.
Yeah, Pornhub.
Actually, yeah, I just downloaded it off Pornhub because fuck it.
Don't you need premium to download, Jack?
No, I use secondhand websites.
Oh, okay.
I use other websites.
Good to know.
Yeah. So that's enough to pad the time over that scene. Don't want to talk about my movie? Talk about a porno spoof. Oh my god, I've been Harvey Weinstein!
Oh, shit. Oh my god, it's like Family Guy when Stewie's running around naked in the mall. I'm just escaping from Kevin Spacey's house. And that was in like 2009 or 5 or whatever. That was like way before.
Oh my god. See, that's the thing. I think
So
I knew a lot about what was going on in Hollywood.
Kong's hand was really limp right there.
Yeah, I think he was like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
I still want the Kong movie where his balls are hanging out.
Well, no, the reason you never see that is because in scientific accuracy, gorillas are known to have the smallest nards in the primal species.
Yeah, but they also have some hair covering it, but you never seem to see that.
No. They're literally like, they have the smallest. They're smaller than other people. I'm not going to say which ethnic group because I don't want to be racist.
Oh my god.
So anyway, back to the movie. Back to Bradley's ass crack sticking out of the suit there. See, that's the thing. I can be self-aware if my movie's bad. I can take a joke. I'm not as harsh as most. I can because look, if people point out stuff, I laugh because it's like, hey, we all do young and stupid shit.
Come on, Jack. They did this projection effect better in 1933 than you did.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll admit that effect was not. That was only because
not that one. The scene before where he was like shrunk down.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky to do. Some of the shots were again really tricky to do. Now here, yeah, she was on green screen there. I wish we could have done that full, but we didn't really have the right thing for it. So she's getting so the thing is, these flowers can actually heal people pretty quickly. So it's like, I think the oil is of less value. Get the frickin' flowers. That can cure cancer. And then here comes the worst effect in the movie.
I doubt that.
It's Terry from Pee-wee's Playhouse. Will you come outside and play with me? Will you come outside and play with me now? Yep. So that was just a plushie on fishing line. On a fishing pole.
Why didn't you take that scene out?
Because it's important to the plot. How do you cut all this and make it work?
Damn, that would have hurt a lot more.
Yeah, the Pteranodon sounds were actually just a cockatoo. Just pitched way down. Now, you know what? Again, what's funny is there was a better prop that we could have used that came out after we finished filming. And it was this like rubber pterodactyl at Toys R Us. And I'm like, what the fuck? All the good stuff comes out after. It looks like Polly the parrot from SpongeBob. Like, Polly, get over.
Was there any behind-the-scenes romance between those two?
No, not at all. Not really. Because actually, it's funny because after this movie, Brett actually has a kid now.
Damn.
So he had a kid literally right after filming. Not with her, with some other chick.
This music sounds like it sounds like a King Kong game.
There is some from the game in here. I'm not gonna lie. Because there was some.
It's a great score, by the way. That.
Yeah, we just dunked blood on that one. He's like, oh, you bitch.
The hair looks kind of real on the suit, though. The wind.
Yeah, we got a really good quality suit for that.
I'm sorry. I can't tell what her hair color is.
It's brownish orange. They're getting shot in my aunt's pool. Quick, slowly swim to shore. When now people are like, why is there fencing and bricks there? It's like abandoned native stuff.
Yeah.
That works. There, it's like The Simpsons. Why is there a birdhouse there? That's an ornament. That shot
a nice
was
shot.
again. That was the Universal Mountain, that Jurassic thing. It was shot on a blue sky, so I just composited the shot.
That's nice. What's the inspiration for your score? Pretty sure I already answered that.
Waterworld.
But...
The score to Waterworld mostly.
Took in a lot of water.
It was the score to Waterworld. This scene was out of the '96 draft as well. This is a scene right out of that. If you go read it, it'll be pretty much line for line.
The right place.
How fast can you make it to the wall?
I'm gonna say it anyway.
All right, let's bone.
I love you.
No, you know what it is? It's oh, what is it? Again, this bit was actually improv, but it's Tourette's guy just like, we're gonna fuck or what? A little bit of rumble in the jungle.
Tourette's guy. Oh, shit.
I just went through hell of a
Oh God,
What am I supposed
that's what we gotta watch next.
Oh, I love Tourette's guy. That's like the greatest meme ever.
Tonight on Unsolved Shit.
Now, you know what's great about doing the slap sounds? I did them myself. I would just like literally slap my hand like this.
okay.
There, instant bitch slap.
Calm down.
It's okay, and
no,
the
they
movie will
actually-
be over soon. Okay.
They actually did kiss here, and I just told them, "Can you just do this?" And then just it's all acting, and I'll just do it in one take, and that's what we did.
Oh,
And holy shit!
that wasn't so bad. I've seen worse kisses.
Yeah, true.
I don't think they like moved at all. They kind of just like smushed their faces. Like,
Yeah, it was cute. So the idea is that Denham wants to get Kong, and hey, let's reshoot that sacrifice scene. But the idea is that they use one of the natives to lure Kong in and then capture him. So I guess there's a little bit of a symbolism for slavery.
yeah. Well, what the hell was with that in 05 when all the skeletons are there? Like, does Kong not like the black women?
No. What it is that I think he has a fascination, obviously, for more blondes. And what they do is they put the fake wigs over the sacrifices. Like here's where I think the logic is that they sacrifice a woman to Kong every month or every 6 months or every once a year. But with Anne, when she shows up because she's a golden woman, that pretty much is a total of like 5 or 10 years worth of sacrifices.
Don't forget.
So it kind of saves them time to basically inbreed more sacrifices. I think it's just the idea.
I also don't think Anne would survive if she was not rescued. So
Oh yeah, like she would not live to tell the tale. And yeah, the idea is that they killed the chief.
Right in the head, Bob.
Like they literally shot the chief.
Besides, these savages need a better chief.
Like that's
didn't the black woman play Anne in the Broad? I had not seen the Broadway show, so.
Oh, the Broadway show's great. I can send you a copy, by the way.
Hey, hello. Jack's back.
Welcome to the jungle. We got
We had fun and games.
Dad, I'm just as surprised as you are.
I totally didn't lie.
Thank God.
But yeah, so it's just more of again, this was all shot in my basement because it worked.
Well, thank God you're alive.
You're full of shit.
She was probably like so uncomfortable surrounded by all these dudes.
No, I wish I would have added that. Just like he's like, "Thank God you're alive," and then Jack's just like, "Carl, you're full of shit."
You're all safe now. Be back on the ship in no time.
Oh, just the scummy lying is great. We're totally not colonizing this island. Like, I remember, what was it, Lindsay Ellis's video on Kong? She said, no, it wasn't beauty that killed the beast. It was colonialism.
Carl, what the hell's going on? What do you plan to do with that girl?
There's a
Oh,
great blooper here
You're in
where He says, "What do you plan to do with that girl?" And we kind of broke out because we thought it sounded so wrong. And then Brett's like, "I'm just gonna take her to the back and poke her hot ass."
Perfect. All right, places, everyone.
So
You in. Get the natives to close that gate.
Come on, you fuckers.
yeah, that's me there, just kind of being a bit more like, "Here's the scene. Be more aggressive. Be more mean. They put the message across." I was like, why would the ship hire children?
Gate locked down.
What's awkward is these kids are probably like grown up now.
Oh
Some of
yeah,
them.
like you should see Zach now. He's like really good. Like Jacob, who plays one of the sailors, he's built like a brick shithouse. Like he's bulked up.
Better start talking or I'm gonna kick your ass right now.
All he has to do is just snap his fingers. It's like, yeah, he's got goons.
Now, Jack, I told you what would happen if you didn't clean up your act.
You didn't say the magic word.
Bitch, damn.
Keep them all together. Make sure they hold them back.
Oh, help me out here.
I'm sorry, my old friend, but you can't interfere with business.
Business? What are you talking
See,
about?
Jack, should have used my leg and that SpongeBob for your confidence. Just have to let them go, my leg!
Oh god, what did I do? I have to take a piss break.
Okay, well, I'll keep talking. And this movie's long. But yeah, so it was just kind of fun to do these kind of shots, like the shots of Bradley here in the suit, just slamming trees. And then we have the whole entire crash in the wall, which is great. He's just like breaking it down. We had multiple cameras rolling for this. So we just did it in a couple of takes and we got it and it came out well. And I just used every take imaginable that we had to shoot this. It was great. People are even on the stream now. Holy crap, let's see. Yeah, here's the best shot. One of my favorite shots. This was used in concept art where that was all done in one take. He just smashed that thing and then after that, the miniature was just done. And I think we spent the second day actually shooting all this Rampage stuff. And this here, I just threw a rope at him and we tied them all down and put some nets over them. And all this came out really good. So it's just a lot of it is just sandwiching shots together of actors on green screen and making it blend all well. If you guys have any questions, please, goddamn, I hate this hack. Exactly. I love these shots. Now that rock is actually a prop from a TV show that my uncle had worked on. He gave me that as a gift, so I just figured I'd use it, and it worked. And it's just a foam rock. The chloroform grenades were actually because they were taken off the prop guns we used, which were at the dollar store, and they were water guns. And we just took the water bottle part and we sprayed paint them silver and made chloroform grenades for them. And it's a lot of fog machine stuff here and stuff too. And then right here, this is where I think I should have put it. It's just like my leg. Don't worry, I have plans for that line later. And also, some of the roars were actually from the confrontation ride at Universal, which was pretty cool. Oh, you missed the wall crash, man. You missed the wall crash.
Damn it.
You get to see the thing burn down. Oh, we gotta put that line in. Run for your lives! So a lot of this was just summer camp stuff. Just told them to all just run and they'll just film stuff. And then like this was just Bradley the second day just trashing all the models. This was out of King Kong versus Godzilla where they're like shooting stuff at the octopus. And then here's the Wilhelm scream. Coming up. That's one of my favorite sound effects of all time. Jared says I should have used the line, my leg!
My spleen.
My spleen, my spine, ow! So there, yeah, it's just Bradley just having a field day trashing the set. Now, one thing I really wish we did is I really wish, again, the idea was the whole village burns down. Now, we did a test where we burned to one of the huts, but then we figured this is too risky, so let's just use CG fire. So he's just like trashing it and like, here, I love this. Like we just actually burnt some of it.
Would have been awesome though to have Kong like surrounded in like just the burning wall, like just actually.
Well, a lot of this is from the Legend script. That was the plan in the 70s. He burns that thing down. He's just covered in fire. I don't think that many men is strong enough to hold Kong down. Yeah, I think in total of men they had on the ship was about 30, and they lost half in the jungle, and then like about another 5 capturing him. I love this line here. That's my boy Harley, Captain Crispy 420 on YouTube. He's great. But he was a real funny trooper. He did some lines there that were really good. But that whole line where he's like, "Come back with those bombs, you son of a bitch," that was actually in the original film, but they cut out the son of a bitch part. Because you remember in the movie, he's like, "Come back with those bombs, you." So this was all shot at a beach, a local beach where I was at, and we shot the arrival scene and the end scene in like 2 days. So that was really cool to do. And then all this stuff with the jungle foreground was actually this was all shot a little area in the backyard. Now again, this is out of the '96 draft because they had apparently just I think they ran out of gas bombs. So what happened was Jack had actually thrown a spear at Kong's leg, and then they beat him in with their gun butts. They're just like beating the crap out of him. So it was a mix of like green screen and actually beating a hand up and shots like that, where it's kind of a POV.
Oh man, the way you guys say sorry is so weird. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, you know.
Sorry, don't you know? We're not New Jersey. We're Canadians. I love this. This is the only time Bob takes off his glasses.
Well, it's true.
We've got him.
Now it's funny because like the idea was like it was supposed to be kind of like where like you feel bad and then they actually turn out to be scumbags, like in the Wallace and Gromit movie where you think they shoot the were-rabbit and then it's like, don't worry,
Did
child.
Bradley just aim the gun at the camera?
No, we just like we have it where the priest goes to the lady. It's like, we're sorry, ma'am. Let us share your pain and your moment of sorrow. And they all look sad, and then it's like, yay!
A large super tanker and bring me here right away.
So yeah, instead of putting Kong on the ship, they put him on a super tanker because there's no way a 50-foot gorilla would fit on a boat like that.
Who's ever gonna hold that thing?
We're gonna give him more than shit. He's always been king of this world, but we're gonna teach him. We're billionaires, and I'm gonna share it all with you. In a few months, we'll be famous. You'll see.
So the idea with all the sailors too, by the way, I have a little backstory, is that they're all convicts doing time, and that's why they were so cheap to hire, because they're all cutthroat villains and scoundrels who were instead of either A, you go to prison, or B, you work on this boat. And they chose the latter and chose the boat. So that's the idea, and that's why they're all scummy. Because you got to give kind of a reason why they act the way they do. Again, stock footage of a super tanker, and then the inside of the super tanker here, this is actually a gym, believe it or not, but it looks like a super tanker. So that's like the skyline. It kind of matches really well. See, when you're trying to come up with how to do stuff, you have to be a little creative.
So where was this part shot?
This is a gym in a community center, a local community center I went to. So it makes it look like he's in like the cargo hold, like in the 70s version. And they just constantly dunk chloroform grenades in there to knock him out.
Isn't 76 the only movie where they actually show him on the boat?
Yeah.
Sometimes
It's the only one where they kind of show the only thing they don't show is how they got him snuck into the city without anybody seeing him.
Can we just have a movie like showing all the stuff that they never showed you in the original story?
That's what they were supposed to do, but they actually ended up that was supposed to be a spin-off series called The New Adventures of King Kong, but they ended up apparently just not doing that movie because they felt they did too much.
So what is that shot right there? That King Kong.
This was a mix of when I went to the Toronto International Film Festival, real New York City, and the premiere of the Peter Jackson movie.
Is this all original footage?
This is all original footage. And actually, there's a cameo from a famous celebrity here, Jennifer Aniston.
Damn.
Right there. That's her, right there.
Probably looks the same age she does now.
So technically, she made a cameo.
Nice. Give her credit.
And Jennifer Aniston as that chick in the corner.
That's right. In King Kong vs. Godzilla, they did show him on the raft.
Yeah. But they never show how they got him in the theater.
$5 million. Not bad for one night.
They made $5 million
through the roof.
And actually, funny enough, you're going to see this later, but the announcer who announces Carl on stage, that's the angry video game nerd. That's my buddy James Rolfe.
So did you contact him to make a cameo?
No, I met him at a con. And I just said, hey, I'm doing this movie. You want to do a cameo? He's like, yeah, sure. Because he's a big Kong fan. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. So this was all shot in my garage. Because it looks like a backstage.
Getting old. I thought you two had
We've used that set so many times on the movie too. It was also the green screen stage.
The music here. This is
Max Steiner. It's the original.
You nervous, Jack? It's showtime.
So here, you'll hear James right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from New York City, Mr. Carl Denham.
Ass! That was the nerd right there doing a cameo. Yeah, they loaded him on the raft, Justin, but they didn't show him putting it in the theater.
I am here today to tell you a strange tale.
So a lot of this was real theater stuff as well as stock footage of the audience because I didn't have access to a full audience.
And I have brought back proof of our adventure. An adventure in which 25 of our party
Oh, kind of a padded crowd. Well, I guess COVID would do that.
pursued a savage beast, a monstrous aberration of nature.
All of them just look like, what the hell is this?
I'd like to introduce you to the man who built this beast, with only his wits and the love of a cat.
So what's great is we shot this on green screen and we actually put a spotlight on him and it just kind of looked good as it bled through the curtain. Too, which actually worked out really well.
Well, Jack, what was it like risking your life?
So again, all this was actually from the 96 draft where Jack gets stage fright. And then on top of that, in the original script, they were supposed to reenact their adventure, and Denham was trying to force Jack to stab Kong with the spear, and he didn't do it.
Were you scared?
But I was like, yeah, no, this is freaking wrong. I'm not doing this.
We should like get together and do like a table read of that script.
Well, that'd be great. I'd be up for that.
Have to get a lot of people in on it though.
Because what's great is like, you know, you have to match their characters. So Jack was supposed to be kind of like very Bruce Campbell-y or Brendan Fraser from The Mummy. And then like Denham was very kind of Robert De Niro from Untouchables. Like Al Capone. Oh, hey, he did the Arthur meme.
Which they copied in Kong Skull Island.
Yeah. So all this is dialogue from the original, obviously. And that's the thing. Jake just had such a fun time shooting this and doing this speech. And what we did was we filmed it on a green screen. And then we had like a couple of our crew members in the crowd just being the audience to kind of cheer him on, to give him a bit of motivation. Now, this setup, this miniature of him on stage was probably the most difficult thing to shoot with miniatures because we had to glue the posts and everything to this table. And, you know, they were cardboard. And then we had to put the chains through them, attach the chains to Bradley in the suit, and Bradley had to make sure not to move in certain directions or else he was going to knock down the posts off cue.
Yeah.
So I had to direct this very carefully.
No way. This giant ape could escape.
So it was a mix of dollar store Halloween chains and shackles, and then the stomach piece was just a piece of cardboard, like a cardboard belt that we spray painted silver. I think what makes it all work too is the crown on his head, and then it has an automatic wench that brings him up, and you know, like, I'm Jesus. So yeah, that was all really tricky to shoot, and he had to really make sure his weight didn't hold down the chains, because those chains are really cheap plastic.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, a moment
It looks
to
pretty
not
convincing.
forget.
It looks convincing, yeah.
Pour fiercely into your hearts. Roar, Kong! Go with all your might!
And he's like, nah. Nah, I ain't doing that. And then here, I love how they use cattle prods to make him roar. They use like electric cattle prods.
I always want like a Carl to like just like swear him off. They're like, you mother and stupid ape.
Well, that's the Joe Pesci Carl Denham. You was a stupid fucking. Take your stinking paws off him, you damn dirty apes. It's like, wrong franchise. I love how he stands up and everybody's like, whoa. Well, it's funny. Oh, you know, I didn't think of, where are you going? Get back here. I'm not finished my story.
One of the greatest women I have ever met.
Hey, I was going to say, the idea, it's funny because like the idea is that when he stands up, everybody's kind of like, whoa, that thing's big, right? But it's funny, I didn't think that was going to work until I later saw the Kong musical. And what's great is when that scene happens in the musical, as an audience member, you become part of the story because you're actually the audience members in the scene. And so
Yeah.
I'll say this: when Kong is on both on bipedal on chains, you look up at him, and I literally was speechless. I thought this was the first time I felt Kong was 100% real. And I looked at that, and I was like, that thing is real, and it's alive. That was like the closest.
That's true. That like puts you right in the movie.
It does, and that was the weird, eerie thing that I loved about the show. They make you part of the experience. So when you see him and you're looking up at him, I was literally just like, I was smiling, but I was also terrified because I'm thinking, if this was actually, like, I'm thinking this is the closest real thing to Kong I'm ever going to get. But when he's there, when he's breaking through the chains, you're like, I'm going to die if I don't leave. Like, it felt that way. And that's the feeling, like, that's great about that show. Now, unfortunately, this shot here, he forgot his glasses. Now, the audio here, believe it or not, of the press people, that's the Channel Awesome group. That's Doug, Malcolm, Tamara. They met them at the con. They did that, too. It was great.
Leave us alone! Go away!
He's like, no, I'm creepy. Like, wow, he's a natural Harvey Weinstein.
I like that cabinet in the background of Kong.
I like the one reporter who's like, "Do you plan to marry Mr. Denham, man?" Like, it's just to show how the press is just so quick to jump to conclusions. It's like, yeah.
Look, let go of me!
Wait a minute, you're ruining my show!
Yikes. Pimp Denham.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love this stuff. That was great to shoot. There were sometimes actually the chain didn't break, so we had to cut it, and then I said go. That was real. That was real. Him breaking the thing was real. He's like, yeah, that crown. I love how he grabs these two and he does this. I love this part. He grabs
So Bradley
them.
kills himself.
Oh, watch. Just squishes them. I love that.
Yeah, Bradley does kill himself.
Twice. And then all of a sudden, I love this. Denham becomes sort of this mustache twirling bad guy.
Go! What are you doing?
And in this movie,
Excellent.
Gome from Inuyasha. That was actually the point, Jared. That was the point. We were trying to basically make her basically one of those anime chicks. Now, you know what's funny? That shot, when they like come out and they close the door, that was right when that happened, we laughed. Which is great. Now, this stuff I love. This background, this building, that was styrofoam when we just filmed that. And Brad had a fun time just smashing that. Now, this is miniature, and then this is real bits of Universal backlot. There's Bernard, the composer. And then that's real people in New York that I shot in Times Square. And then this is a bit of Dundas Square in Toronto. And then this is real New York backdrop. And then this is Universal in the New York
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, and then New York, real New York right there.
Did you get to the actual Empire State Building?
Yep, we used actual backdrops and everything. This is
Should have
Universal.
gone to the viewing tower there.
Yeah, there's a bit of Universal backlot. There's a bit of this is real Times Square I shot. I love this. That guy, that was cool. That's a great shot. This crashes. He becomes a Barbie doll.
Ken.
And then a lot of this is footage from when they were shooting World War Z. Like behind the scenes footage when they shot it. Which you can find so much of that on YouTube.
Russian crash videos.
Oh, those are great. Those are great for stock footage. I could see the TTC tram in the background. Yeah, that's the thing. Like there's trams. That's a cardboard thing I just lit on fire. A cardboard model bus I just lit on fire. Real Time Square.
Bus.
Yeah, that's Real Time Square. This is out of the 76 extended cut, which is great. There's a scene just like this. Now, yeah, it's just a lot of fun to shoot. This was the only night shoots we did with those shots. Just run, everyone. Run and hide because it's a giant gorilla. This was one of my favorite setups. What it is, we had 2 C-stands, and then we had a table, and then in the foreground, we had a cardboard version of the train bridge that I built. And then we had a model train set going across the table. So I just love doing this with model trains. So this is real. This is as practical as we could get. And then this is footage of the trains I got, the subways in New York. And it was a mix of the subway New York and the TTC in Toronto. This is a bit of shaky cam when like the lights are flickering, and then this is people on. There's some people on green screen I shot in Fan Expo. A couple extras.
Who's the better train smasher, Godzilla or Kong?
Kong. He goes choo choo, motherfucker.
Why do you think just break one over his knee?
Oh, that would have been cool if you just snapped one. Oh, like Bane. Oh man, would have thought that would be cool.
That
like,
lady's
oh,
so happy.
We're stuck on the King Kong Universal Studios ride. Ah!
Wait, I'm gonna rewind because I need to see that lady again in that.
Which one?
She just looked so happy.
I'm happy. I'm dying. I'm in danger. It's just fun to shoot that. That was really good. All this stuff. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. That came out really well. And of course, they bring in the military and the National Guard, and yeah, again, some of this is stock footage because some of this we didn't have access to. There's some really good stuff here. This is where it becomes a Godzilla movie. I love that the flashlight is like a spotlight. Hey, knock it off, Kong. There's a baby in that train. Well, that baby's dead.
There was one point where I almost made a Godzilla fan film. I was gonna turn my garage into a miniature city set with like cardboard box buildings. I had a Godzilla head that I made out of cardboard, actually with a moving jaw and everything. But
Oh, I want to see that actually. That'd be fun.
and I had a styrofoam ball, and I was like, oh, I can make Mothra's head out of this.
Oh man, I want to watch that. Now this was actually shot at a military museum, which is cool because they had all these different like tanks and stuff, like real
Shit.
stuff. So we had access to real tanks and vehicles.
Italians guard the major landmarks. I want the copters in the sky at all times. Intelligence says he is going through the East River. When he is inside, we open fire.
So this is based on Colonel Nevitt from King Kong Lives, which is hilarious.
Brad's still standing there, not giving a shit.
Not give a shit, Lee.
He's like, we need to get to the east side. He's like, dude, this is like my 10th character, man.
And
been a
actually, my
long
dad
day.
was one of the soldiers too, because he was a Vietnam vet. So he got to re-experience that. He should have been in the Kong Skull Island. Actually, funny story. I showed him Kong Skull Island because he was in the war, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple scenes I was laughing because he was pointing out some flaws, like when they get on the choppers to take off to the island, right? Oh, very quickly, this was shot in a pool with the suit. Anyway, he looks at the equipment they're carrying. He's like, "Why aren't they carrying missiles on the choppers?" And I'm like, "Well, they don't know there's a giant gorilla. It's a survey job." He's like, "Oh, okay." But then when they get to the boneyard, and when the colonel says, "Set up the 50K," he spit out his drink and he said, "Wait, they were carrying that the whole freaking time?" I'm like, "Well, what's the problem?" He said, "Those things are a bitch to carry. In the jungles and the mountains," I'm like, "Oh my God." So yeah, like I was laughing because he was just pointing out they were carrying that the whole freaking time. Which, like you want to ask about Vietnam, ask my dad.
You should have done a video like Vietnam vet like breaks down
Kong Skull
how shitty these Nam movies
those
are.
shots of like the city with Kong trekking, we were in a taxi cab and I just filmed them through the taxi cab window. I just knew where to put Kong in those shots.
Please let me go to him. They'll kill him.
So this was shot not at the Empire State Building. This was shot at the Royal York Hotel in Toronto because it matched the building. And I love this shot. That was actually a flat shot, and I just cut out the side to make him pass through it, to make it look like he's just going through a corner. Yeah, they're bringing in everything.
Looks like you got shot in the head.
Well, he's like taking toy trucks and just trashing them. That's
Damn.
great. I love this stuff. Oh, this stuff's awesome.
How many folders of like transparent explosion stock videos do you have for this?
I have about maybe a gig's worth.
Damn. Like stock fires and
Yeah, I have a lot of that stuff. And then
that'll add up.
these shots were actually shot on my communication mast at my house, and I just like put the green screen on it, and I just climbed it.
So you were in the suit climbing?
Yeah, I did a lot of the stunts that Bradley couldn't do. I love the spotlight shot there too, which is great. So now they're in like one of the buildings in the building. Like it's like who knew the Empire State Building had luxury stuff? I love that. Shh.
What the hell is wrong with
It's funny, that was also improv because we actually basically had that scene and then Jake saw that and he did that. I'm like, wait, what'd you do? And he said, I put this sign. I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny. Let's like do a close up of that. And that's what we did.
Don't you get feelings for that monster?
He's not the monster, Denham. You are. And I'm
Oh!
everything that you want to tell the world,
I'm just gonna put a light on because it's like dark in here.
all the truth.
What the fuck?
And tied him up with net and grappling hooks.
Eh.
Work from
Eh,
to a hero
I'm old. Eh,
heartbeat.
oh God. Fuck. Damn it.
You're bluffing. You don't know that.
So have you ever seen Mighty Peking Man, Brian?
Oh no, I haven't. But
It's the Hong Kong King Kong ripoff.
I know what it is, but I haven't seen the movie.
This is supposed to be kind of a satire of that scene, a mix of that and from the original when Jack and Anne are in the hotel. So that was shot at night behind a glass window, which was great.
Man. Well,
So they're just Denham just loses his shit.
hang and have some fun. My mother told me never to hit girls. But in this case, I think I can make an exception.
He had so much fun doing that, being the bad guy. And then this is where the audience just like applauded like crazy. Yeah, no. This. I love this. He just falls to his death. I love it. That's the greatest death ever. It was either he gets eaten or thrown to his death. I figured fall to his death is much more classy and much better. Just have his body just splat.
Yeah. Yeah, the eating would have been over too quickly.
Yeah, I think that would have been unless he bites his head off and it's bloody and then he just tosses the bloody head. It's just you see the flurl of blood just
Damn, my computer's working hard right now. Shit.
I know. Mine's too. Like mine's well, I just got a new laptop so I can do streaming and stuff and actually a new router. So that's why my Wi-Fi is so much better. So now I can jump on as many live streams as I want. I'm gonna do one Wednesday, but I might also jump on the Monster-ritis live stream on YouTube. They've invited me to that.
The eyes look actually kind of good there.
Yeah, they're those shots came out really well because that's just in front of the garage, and then just shined a little LED light on Bradley, and it worked. So this shot I love is where you see kind of the overhead where he's like kind of like he's climbing upwards. That was just on my deck. We put the green screen on the floor, and it worked.
You know what's one thing? Wait, I have a question. Those spotlights, by the way, what were those?
Mix of digital spotlights, like effects, like stock effects, but then there was also effects from like some sort of like premiere that had these spotlights going off with stock footage.
Well, one of the things I was going to say that the original movie did that none of the other ones did is when Kong falls, when he goes down, he just hits his head like a second time when the building moves out. It's like so violent, but they never like recreated that.
It's more just like he bangs his head into like the side of the building, which I guess sort of cracked his neck or like bashed his head in, and then he just fell. So by the time he got halfway down, he was already dead.
Because I feel like it's unrealistic when like especially in like 05, like when he falls, he's like so far away from the building. Like, nah, he would have been pretty tight to that, and he would have hit himself.
I think Jackson's intention was he didn't want to show him the impact. That was the intention. He didn't want to show it because he felt it was too much. It's funny, no Kong movie ever showed the impact other than the Mighty Kong, but that's only because he lives at the end.
Don't let go of me.
Now all this stuff was shot on the roof of my sister's apartment, right in the heart of the city, which was really cool. And then here, yeah, this was just on the ladder, just climbing the ladder. That's right out of the original, which I love. And I wanted to use helicopters because I figured they were a little better. And here's the thing: the idea was with the choppers is that in one of the deleted scenes, Nevitt orders a capture, not a kill, but it turns out he's out of the authority, and the helicopters are actually sent by the Pentagon. Basically, shut it all down. No witnesses, and then that's just a Nerf gun. In fact, I still have that gun. Hold on. This is the gun we used on Kong. This was used to kill the thing. Was a Nerf Vulcan, and it was a chain gun. But we've actually now converted this into a gun for Lunichi Bunny's Fallout cosplay. Which, guys, go subscribe to her. She's super cool. But this is basically the same gun we used to kill that you see in the film. We just painted it a different color. And I love this. This is a mix of like CG copters, real copters, and little copters on strings.
Yeah, mix and match effects. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's fun. It was just fun to shoot this for a day because Bradley was just on a little platform with a little pole, and he would just swing at wired helicopters all day on the green screen. That was actually shot. I was actually did some background plates on the Empire State Building, and what I did was I got a shot of just like the camera zooming in and just like that. So there's me and Brad again. I make a cameo, and that line where it's like, "I'll take them myself, cover me." That was right out of Star Wars, when Darth Vader's like, "I'll take them myself, cover me. The Force is strong with this one." But there's a couple shots that I did myself on the all these backdrops were actually what I shot in New York on the real Empire State Building. And then there we go. I'm dead. Third time he killed himself.
Always wear your seatbelt.
Don't drink and drive, smoke and fly. Remember, if you see giant gorillas as you're flying your helicopter, you're probably drunk. So here's where he meets he's almost done. He's almost done. And it's super duper sad.
All right, boys, let's finish this.
So that's my boy Josh and Eric playing the military guys. The pilots.
Is Bradley suicidal for killing himself that many times in the movie?
It's great.
You see what happens, Kong, when you fuck the military in the ass.
Hold your fire. The girl's there.
Yeah,
Luckily,
this
it's not
one
as disgustingly
so one of the
brutal.
pilots had spotted in and said we can't shoot, and then one of the commander says, "Fuck the girl, she's going down with the ape."
Where's that story when they accidentally kill Anne and then Kong's left up there like, hey.
Well, that's in Mighty Peking Man. They shoot the girl. 0 fucks given.
At least this isn't as disgusting as 76. That was like so bloody and
I love that. That's the best part.
it was so hard to watch.
That was great. I love it. I thought King Kong Lives was actually more violent. So that suit was done afterwards. It was just covered in blood and it was really sticky, so we just threw it out.
What was it? Fake blood? What was it?
Yeah, it was like it was corn syrup and Kool-Aid, and actually red dye because we didn't want it to be too sweet. Oh, and then the one that's Bob in the movie.
So where is that suit now? Is it done?
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone forever.
Couldn't like hose it down.
Couldn't hose it down. Like the suit we had at the premiere was just the other suit. We just put a mannequin over it. Which I'm actually considering. I want to get a mannequin and I want to put it here in this corner and put my bat suit on it.
Do it.
I have a bat, like my own bat cave. And I love this. This is one thing they never did. Have the girl fall with him. That actually got a few shocks in the audience. Like, oh shit.
Well, at least in your thing, Kong hit the building once.
Yeah,
so.
like he saves her at the last minute. You know, that was the whole goal. So that shot was actually Bradley laying on the green screen with the fishing line of Anne as he grabs her. And then the shot of the falling was actually stuff from like a bit from Grand Theft Auto where somebody took one of the characters and made them jump off the Empire State Building. So we just used Grand Theft Auto footage. So no, just imagine he falls, wasted.
Wasted, yeah.
Now that was Universal Studios, and in the background, the Blues Brothers are partying. You'll see in the background, it's just the Blues Brothers show in the background. But right next to it is the old Kong ride right there. I love that. That shot came out really well. It's like, and now I'm dead.
And then he gets a heart transplant.
Oh no. No.
Should have teased that. Have like a surgeon.
No, I would no. If anything, I would do what they did in Kong Reborn, the novel, where somebody takes a blood sample and just puts it in a little jar and sees it for later to clone him. Oh, hold up. You know what? There's a book. Hold up. Hold on. There's a novel sequel that I got called Kong Reborn, and it's a novel that takes place. It's basically Kong meets Jurassic Park, and then this one, in the end of the '30s film, somebody took a blood sample and actually cloned him. They cloned Kong. That's how they bring him back. These genetic technology. It's a good book too. It's very Stephen King inspired, or Michael Crichton.
It's kind of weird.
So again, all this was just Universal, or not Universal. This was Toronto. Backdrops there. And then this is my buddy Vince, and then there's the Sean Ward show who does some shots as well, which is really nice. Yeah, Sean Ward's a great guy. He's got over 1 million subs. And then there's my dad. And then this is supposed to be a nod to the scripts where at the end it was supposed to be Fay Ray who says the line. So that was the original idea, even in the Peter Jackson film, is that Fay Raymond make a cameo and say the line as sort of a poetic thing. So we pay tribute to that. I am in no way implying that this happened 80 years ago.
So who was that? The lady?
That was our neighbor, who was actually a stage actress.
Huh.
So it worked out really well. And I love that shot of it panning up, too. So we get to see, like, the Empire State Building in the last shot. I always figured it should have ended something like this, where it's just the ending is just the building and not the, just Kong body. Felt that it was too short of a shot. And that's really about it. Like, it's just a fun movie to make, and it was a real learning experience.
Sometimes getting closer
great.
to each
There's an
other.
ad right
Yeah,
here.
you don't
Come
need
on.
to see the credits. There's no more. We didn't pull a Marvel.
From your routine.
But yeah, that's to quote Tim and Eric. Well, what do you think? That's our movie. I paid $1 billion for that piece of shit. But yeah, that's your first time sitting all the way through it, eh?
Yes, because last time I skipped some of the island stuff.
What'd you think?
It was good.
It was good. That was good. That was good.
There's a lot of little references in there that.
Oh, there's so many little Easter eggs. Half the time people miss them. And I love doing that in videos. I love creating references. Like, for example, one of the references you missed is that when the government radios the ship when they're entering the island, the coordinates to the island in the maps are 337605. 337605.
I get it.
Oh, number Easter eggs are the best. Like, if you watch Star Wars, when they put Chewbacca they're going to put Chewbacca in the prison cell, and the prison cell is number 1138, which is the number of George Lucas's first movie, THX 1138. So there's always, like, number Easter eggs are the best.
They
Like,
did that in King Monsters.
I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in Godzilla vs. Kong, we see a couple of number codes that are kind of like that. 1962. Where was that in? What code was that in?
No, I'm saying they should do 1962 for.
Yeah, like the code is 1962, or like for Mothra, like they should have done that in King of the Monsters, where like the code for the Mothra for the buttons on to get into Monarch is like 1964.
Well, they did that with the Outpost.
The Outpost.
Yeah, that they were at, like, the actual location the Rodan was in was Outpost 56.
Oh, because Rodan was in 56. Okay.
And Mothra is 61.
Okay, that's clever. That's really clever that they see. I love that. Number Easter eggs are the best. everybody, whenever somebody sees an access code, they try to figure out what the code is. Or it's like Spaceballs, or it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect! That's the name of my lockage number! I love Spaceballs. I'm surprised Mel Brooks never did a kaiju comedy.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
I need to watch more of his other stuff. I've only seen Spaceballs.
You've only seen Spaceballs? I'd recommend Robin Hood Men in Tights, because have you ever seen Monty Python, The Holy Grail?
Yes.
Okay, it's pretty much almost a sequel to that. It is literally Monty Python humor. It's great. And also it's got Carrie Elways as Robin Hood, and he's great in that.
I'll have to watch that.
You ever seen Twister?
No.
You ever seen Princess Bride?
No.
Ah, dude, you ever seen Saw?
No.
Oh, dude, you're missing out on a lot of Carrie Elways stuff. Carrie Elways is great.
I have a bunch of things on my watch list.
I can recommend a couple. Honestly,
the next two are The Shining and Clockwork Orange.
Those are good. I'm trying to think of like films that are like classics that I enjoy that you would like. I mean, again, I'd recommend some Harryhausen movies, like 1 Million Years BC, The Valley of Guanji. You know what that is? That's just cowboys versus dinosaurs.
I still haven't seen The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
That's a good one. I think I have that actually. I'm trying to think of some others. Like Back to the Future. Please tell me you've seen Back to the Future.
No.
Bruh! Okay, you're watching Back to the Future. That trilogy is amazing.
I saw Jaws and Jurassic Park, though.
Okay, but Back to the Future's next. Like, you're going to like those. They are the definitive time travel movies. In fact, what's funny is that the reason Godzilla versus King Ghidorah used time travel was because when they did Godzilla versus Biollante, it actually was beaten out at the box office by Back to the Future 2. So they said, let's put time travel in our movie and cash in on the box office of Back to the Future.
Makes sense.
And that's why even like with, I think Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla came out because Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park. So they're like, let's just do Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park as a Godzilla movie. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff you would never know with those old the Heisei films take inspiration from stuff like that.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying to every week. I'm trying to like watch a couple new things. Last night not last night. Was it last night? Yeah, I watched Metropolis.
Metropolis is good. Nosferatu, The Lost World. Oh,
I'm not a fan of horror, but Lost World I will have to watch.
Okay, one movie I'd recommend is the very first superhero movie, The Mark of Zorro from 1920, starring Douglas Fairbanks. That is a classic. It's a silent film, but it is essentially the very first superhero movie.
Interesting.
Not only the first superhero movie, but the first action movie ever made. Like, it is the first action movie, first adventure movie, first superhero movie, The Mark of Zorro. It's 100 years old. You can find it on YouTube.
Alrighty.
That's a great film. And then you can watch the remake with Tyrone Power and Basil Rathbone.
Yeah.
And then they did another movie with Ricardo Montalban and the guy who played Skeletor in the Masters of the Universe movie. So it's Skeletor versus Khan from Star Trek.
Let's see. What other movies did I watch recently? 2001: A Space Odyssey was not good.
Yeah, that was okay. I'm more akin to, again, when it comes to sci-fi, it's like Star Wars, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of those movies.
Wait, how many of the Star Wars movies have you seen?
1 through 7.
Okay, so you haven't seen episode 8 or 9. 9's okay.
I don't care for it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but the question is, when you watched 4, 5, and 6, did you watch the special editions or the originals?
Oh, I think I watched the special editions, like with Hayden.
I can send you the unaltered versions, and they're ripped from 35mm films.
I don't know. My DVD had both the one with Hayden Christensen and the original Ghost.
Oh, okay. So you watched the original version of Jedi, but not the others, because the others are great, because the others have like model shots and everything, and they look amazing. And the print I have looks like a 70s movie, and that's the best part about the original Star Wars. I think it's just been too saturated with the colors. It doesn't have that 70s glow that it used to have. But the prints I have were ripped from a 35mm print. like released in 1977. So they're the best quality versions. But yeah, so it's like I had fun making it. It was just really a decent movie to look back on. I can't remember how many times I've watched my own movie now. It's like, because half the time I only watch it now with an audience. I don't really watch it by myself. The last time I did was during a commentary. So this is like commentary number 2, essentially. But yeah, I hope you got an insight of what it takes to make a film, and invite me down anytime.
Definitely. Got a nice setup now, so.
Yeah,
And you do
great.
too.
Same here. I think this is going to be my live stream set up with my poster in the background. So.
And the Batman suit.
And a bat suit. Yeah, just the Keaton bat suit behind me in the corner. Because it's funny, because like the only thing I have left to do with my remake is I got to put out a documentary, like a feature-length one, because we have all these interviews and stuff. So I might even just shoot it here, which would be great.
Should do that. All right. I don't think there's any more things in the comments. So if you want to, I don't know, shout yourself out, I guess.
All I can say is, guys, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's under BigJackFilms. I just put out a review of 1 Million Years BC. And then in October, I am doing a full set of Halloween specials. I'm doing 5 reviews every Friday in October. And it's all on the classic Universal Studios monsters. So Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, all are going to be covered. And then at the end of the year, we're going to see 2 more Kong reviews. And the finale you're going to like, because it was shot on location in New York City. So that's going to be, there's 2 New York videos, Kong related, that are going to come out at some point. So look forward to those.
All right, I will.
All right, well, I'll see you guys later. Let me know what your thoughts on the movie are in the comments. Go subscribe to Ryan. He's great. We'll see you guys later.